If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better walk that walk. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better walk that walk. Lot of wannabes, only one of me. They try to put me under pressure, put me under siege. Yeah, I'm a champ, I'm a legend, I'm a beast. Used to be the underdog, I got off the leash. I'm done barking, I only bite. Drop the roof for the night like it's only right. Hold it tight, both hands on the holy grail. Come and get it when you fail, you can hold the hell. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better know how to walk that walk. Tell the arc, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Yeah, I'm ready, let's run it. If you ready, let's run it. You know I run the game. I catch you running your mouth and then you run away. I bet you see me when I'm winning, you got nothing to say. I bet a bag on it, that's a big bet, it's like 100K. Yeah, double or nothing, I know he bluffing. If he yapping, I'ma hush him, it's no discussion. Show him that I really do it and he really doesn't. If you really want it, then it's time to run it. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better know how to walk that walk. Tell the arc, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it.
Winning the game, yeah, I used to be the underdog. Exposing cats, I'm throwing everybody overboard. I see it, then I back it up just like a spinal cord. Underdog, I'm flipping the script like it's a catalog. Look at me, I'm a reflection of what you wanna be. King on the throne, none of you punks can ever humble me. Crown on my head, weighs heavy like a forestry. Guess that's the price that you pay when you're royalty. Blood, sweat, and tears, so I must be possessed. I'm a god in the flesh, makes sense why I'm blessed. Got my competition stressed, killing them all, who's next? Shoot your shot, I wear a vest, so you better aim for the head. Bringing the flame, where do I aim? Cocking the back, letting the bang. A lot of losing in the game, but it's all part of the plan. Let's run it. Real as it gets, so it's tipping 100. And if you do the same, then you know we gotta
Run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Yeah, I'm ready, let's run it. If you ready, let's run it.
Every year, humans face the same ritual of filing taxes. Let's take a look at this fact.
with a slow motion crew, and we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the monsoon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Play me like a bass guitar, simmer down and mash me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drive me around in your red Ford, shivers down my spinal cord. Oh. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Hold on.
I knew that was a song from one of the 8-bit games. That was Castlevania. I just know that if it kept playing, it's probably gonna catch me on the YouTube side of things. So yeah. I'm about almost done on my side. Make sure to tell a friend. Hey, PhD bound, what is up? How you doing? And Vortex, how are you doing? Thank you for stopping by and stuff. But yeah, make sure to tell a friend that I'm live. They don't want to miss my hot takes, if we want to call them hot takes. We have a lot to get through because I just finished watching the majority of all the wrestling. There's probably going to be some wrestling that I'm not gonna sit and watch, like GCW. I'm definitely not gonna watch that one. I don't really care about GCW or Joey Janela like that. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. And And someone needs to help me out knowing that if Hikaleo and Chris Bay had their tag team match against the Stray Dogs, like um um all right, so all right, cool. Phone is fine, my notes are fine. I just like I I I like New Japan fans. Don't worry, I know that you guys can't see me just yet. Um I'm just making sure that on my side I have everything that I need, and I'm just thinking what I have through. Uh so for the first agenda, we're gonna go through some AEW stuff and then like get into the wrestling matches that like I saw, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. I really am. I'm just looking on my Twitter timeline to make sure that people are coming in from there. Uh and that if I was talking with people, to be like, hey, come over, I'm live. So again, make sure to tell a friend before we actually start the official podcast, because this will be an official podcast. um and Vortex, I'm so glad that you're here. Anyway, um okay, so I guess, all right, cool. I'll do this. We'll start off with some crazy ass shit. How about that? We'll do that. We'll start off with some crazy ass shit. Now you get to see my awesome face and everything like that. Well, here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and on this episode of the Square Circle Podcast, yes, it is live. It is live on Twitch. For those of you that are listening to this on the audio version, man, make sure you get Twitch on your phone as an app, or head over to your desktop and type in Marie_Shadows. Make sure you follow the Twitch channel so that you could be here live and we could discuss professional wrestling. I always love to do podcast episodes anyway as a like static rather than like scene, but this is more fun, this is more interactive. You get to hear and see a different side of me, and this is live, so I can't edit it to make it as perfection as it can be, if that makes sense. So yeah, again, thank you and welcome to the Square Circle Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Marie Shadows, and we are going to be talking about a little bit of AEW. We're going to be talking about Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, and how like Tony Khan is already turning it into like AEW 2.0. We are definitely going to be talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling Lone Star, which happened yesterday at 5 p.m. And I think we were missing a couple of matches, but we'll get into that. And then we could be talking about Impact, multi-universe of matches. I believe that's what it's called. It's just such a really long title that I was like, I don't know. But yeah, as always, I thank you guys for being here, watching this live with me, chatting with me in the chat. And yes, I do read everyone's message and comment to it, and just love the fact that you guys are here. If you guys are listening to this on the audio version, which is, you can find it over at anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast, and from there it is on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon Music. Yes, it is on Amazon Music. I haven't really been promoting that, but wherever you can find Square Circle Podcast, it is there. And then also on the YouTube side, thank you guys so much for watching this on the YouTube side and growing my numbers. My YouTube has definitely been growing so much, so thank you. But yeah, I'll do all my plugins as I go, I guess. But let's start off with some really, really hot wrestling news. I guess this is not wrestling news because Tay Conti decided to post this up, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't usually like to call out wrestlers if you consider this to be a call out type of thing, but I don't really like when I have to do this because my whole thing about the Square Circle podcast is to, you know, break down wrestling matches and like give you some wrestling news here and there, but more importantly, to have you understand and love the reason why you're watching wrestling a little bit more, why you should invest in, you know, wrestling storylines, the characters, like the whole 9 yards. You know, but you know, sometimes when wrestlers decide to be like, hey, you know, let me tweet this out and make themselves look like a victim, or try to get that clout that they want, you know, and stuff like that. I can tell you this, that like I do find Sammy and Tay very, very fucking annoying. And they're very children-like. And it's like you guys need to grow up in a way. And I really hope that one day they really do grow up. But I don't see any improvement for them growing up. And I do not think that, I mean, there'll come a time and a day for like for them to grow up. But right now, I do not think that they are going to grow up anytime soon. So let's sort of look at this, and then I'll explain like the backstory and stuff like that. So it says from Tay Conti's own personal Twitter account. Oh, and by the way, I really don't mind if all the Tay Conti stands come after me because they don't agree with me. Hear me out and what I'm going to say and how I'm going to explain this. So don't get into your feelings just yet. You know, if you want to, that's totally fine. Everyone is entitled, you know, to their own opinion, but opinions are not like facts. All right. So like, you know, it's okay. Excuse me. It's okay if like, you know, you want to come at me and say some stuff. It's totally fine. You don't know me, so it's okay. So Tay says, Dan is a piece of shit, a sexist. If I'm a bad person because I fight against it, so be it. Aren't we in 2022? Tell me why I need to be ashamed of the photo I post when in the 90s, this was badass for guys. I'm not ashamed of talking about sex because I'm a woman. Fuck off. First of all, if you do not know who Dan is basically Dan Lambert. He runs the team, American Top Team over in AEW. He has some, I guess, some managing skills for like UFC. Like he's mainly known around the UFC circles and such, right? So basically like that who Dan Lambert is. For the past freaking months, it has been Dan Lambert with American Top Team feuding with Brandy and Cody, and Brandy making herself look like a fool on the mic and all that back and forth. And yes, I can definitely say that the stuff that Dan says, it is pretty like sexist and stupid and so outdated. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, I know this guy's playing a character. And I only bring that up is because if you read more of the comments, you know, somebody was like, well, if he is such a sexist, why are you not telling management? Why are you not telling Tony Khan? Why are you agreeing to do this angle? Like telling that to Tay Conti, only for Tay Conti to be like, oh no, he's like that in real life. And also he's like that on screen and off screen, which is bullshit. It's bullshit. You're trying to make something bigger than what it is, because if it really, really was that big of a deal, he would not be nowhere near wrestling. All the fans would definitely be like, yo, Tony Khan, kick him out. Do you know how many times the women on Twitter are like, hey, Tony, can you replace Dan Lambert with a women's match? Because we really don't need to hear all that stupid shit. Like, we don't need that now. But at the end of the day, he's still playing a character. If he was really that bad in real life, like, he would be kicked out the same way that the Me Too movement happened, the speaking out movement happened in the wrestling community, and kicked all those idiots out that decided to, you know, just be really bad and, you know, either abuse women mentally, physically, basically like take advantage of them and stuff. Like if it was really that bad, he would not be nowhere near, you know, this at all. And Tony Khan wouldn't necessarily risk it, you know, if he was this bad, right? So first of all, it's like, I don't think Tay Conti understands how to try to play this game to sort of get more people on her side, but that's not the point of why I brought this up, right? I brought it up because, yes, we are in 2022. Everybody should feel like they can talk about stuff without it being taboo. Me, personally, I don't mind talking about sex or, complimenting a woman and being like, hey, you're super pretty, you're super cute, those sexy pictures that you took, they're awesome. Like keep going. Like I don't mind complimenting women on like the things they want to pursue, right? Cool. You could do whatever you want. It's totally fine. You could talk about sex with whoever you want. I think that us as women, we should definitely have more open space to talk with men as well and be like, look, there's sex, we got our periods, this is how our periods actually act, we get cramps, we sometimes don't get cramps, we do this, we do that, just so that way the stereotypes and the taboos can like break down, right? So that's why you have these conversations, and in 2022 we should be having these conversations of like, women are not just for baby making, women are not just for, being objectified, like they're everything else. Like, cool. I totally get that from Tay Conti. I really, really do. But what I really don't get is that she's forgetting that she's playing a character. She's feeding into the toxicity of the fans. And then the moment that, that naked picture came out of like her and Sammy with the belt, was she thinking that she was gonna get like really good praise? Like when you put something out like that, right? Men and maybe sometimes women, like 95% of the time would be like, oh, she's easy. Oh, okay, so I could just daydream about her and maybe try to get with her because, she's able to do that. Like she could do it with somebody else. Like you have to understand that if you want to put out stuff that people are going to react to, you're going to have to accept the consequences back. It can't just be like, oh, guys, praise me every single second and still boo the heel. It's like, no, everyone has their own opinion. Everyone has their own perspective on things. And, you know, if you put out that photo, right? If you put out things that are very super and hypersexual, the feedback is not going to be right. The feedback you're looking for is not what you intended. And then people are just going to overshadow all of the hypersexual stuff that you put out on, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. All that hypersexual stuff that you put out, it's going to get overshadowed, and then no one's going to take you serious as a wrestler anymore, because then they're just going to think of you as eye candy. And that's what I think she's not understanding. I don't normally, like I said, I don't normally put wrestlers like out there like that, but it's just the fact of, this is a very childish thing to think about, to try to push the story along, because Sammy and Tay got into the role of Brandy and Cody with American Top Team, right? So, if Tay Conti wants to still be that badass chick that apparently she suddenly somehow found, maybe not posting sexy ass pictures basically will not have the fans react in the way that she doesn't want it to react. But then again, they're getting really good press because everyone is so upset and everyone is like, getting on them for stuff. So they're going to use that line of, oh, they're just haters. Well, if you don't come after the trolls and other people the way that they've been doing, then like, you wouldn't get haters. I can just, it just bothers me that no one is sitting them down. When I say them, Tay and Sammy, sitting them down to be like, hey, you might want to like cut back a little bit on what you're doing and how you're doing it, even though they make the most money, they make the most buzz, and that's always a good thing in professional wrestling. But like, one of these days it's going to come to like a head, no pun intended. And just what do you call it? Like it's not gonna end well, and I really don't think that Tay understands that. I really don't think so. But then again, it's cool that she wants to be very empowered. Sometimes it's a double-edged sword, especially if you're gonna be like, you know, um if she's a bad person to fight against it, right? Then don't post up sexy pictures. If you're gonna post up sexy pictures, you know, do it behind either a Patreon, an OnlyFans, maybe even coffee, or like something that's like some people have to pay for it, right? And you keep your community private, because if you want to go out as a wrestler and be like, I am a badass wrestler, you know, don't try to belittle me by saying sexist things to me. I'm gonna go out there and kick your ass. It doesn't matter who you are. That's how you save face, and that's how you remain strong, and not be like this little child that like she goes around on AEW Dynamite and Rampage and pick fights with people, and then like, you know, Sammy don't help and whatnot. Like, these two need some direction where, you know, it makes sense for their characters. And I just don't really care about it anymore. It's like they want the praise, but then when they get the wrong type of praise, the fans are wrong. And it's like, no, you guys are approaching this the wrong way. You guys are thinking about this the wrong way. And to have tweets like this, where you're trying to push a story, but it's not working because people can see through the bullshit, you know, it's not fair to them. But then again, you know, again, no one is sitting them down to be like, hey, we got to rethink this. The other thing too is that, you know, what was I just thinking? I think I just lost it. About Tay. Man. Yeah, exactly. PhD Bound basically gets it in the chat. She says, you don't want people to lose respect for you as a wrestler or have that overshadow your wrestling. That's the only like point I'm trying to make with this, is that yes, I get it. Dan Lambert is sexist. And if you felt that strongly about it, you would have went to Tony Khan and you would have told him, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And you would have told Tony Khan, I don't feel comfortable being the replacement for Brandy and Cody. So basically, like, because this is still being allowed, I really don't care for it. I don't feel sympathetic or empathetic. Like, if she really believes that she wants to fight against people being sexist, she has a big enough mouth to yell to Tony Khan and basically tell him that she is uncomfortable. I do not think that if she went to Tony Khan, told him that if she's uncomfortable with this, that she's uncomfortable with this, that, you know, he'll say, no, you still got to do it. You know, so it's like, you tried, Tay, you definitely tried, but it didn't work. It didn't work. Just the final thoughts on it is just that I wish Tay and Sammy can grow the fuck up a little bit. They really do need to grow up. This would have never spiraled so completely out of control if Sammy didn't have to write the note saying that him and Pam were no longer together, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, him and Tay can just get together like that. Like, that felt a little like, you know, it's not cheesy. It's not cheesy, brain. It felt a little dirty in a way to do that. And that caused a lot of problems for Tay, and then for Tay to be like, hey, respect our privacy. Sorry, it's already out there. Like, there's no, once you reveal like 80%, I'm going to go with 85% of your life, whether that's like on vlogs or whatever, you know, once you reveal that much, that's it. It's basically like, you don't really get that privacy back in a way, right? Like, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, don't vlog out there, guys. Like, you should vlog and you should give us, like, you know, a little bit of cool things and stuff like that. But, you know, when you make it completely about your life and everything that you do, just to keep people there, you know, can you really get over without your vlog? That's also another question too. Can Sammy get over without his vlog? Because essentially that vlog is linked to him, and that's basically his star power. So yeah, uh, I don't know. I could go on and on for a little while about like questions here and there and stuff. But again, I don't normally put up wrestler tweets. But this one was really fucking stupid because it's just like, you tried, it failed. And it's not about being ashamed of talking about sex and putting up sexy pictures. It's about how people are going to perceive you as, and obviously Tay has been getting all the negative responses and it's not working in her favor. And sometimes being so young in the business and not understanding how story works and maybe not understanding how media works, because yes, we can say that any press is good press, but that's not really the case here. No one is sitting down with them to sort of push them in the right direction. And I will say it here now. Don't ask me. If you ask me, maybe, but like that's a whole big mess that I don't want to deal with. All right. I'm going to move on to another Twitter thing. I guess another Twitter call out. Like, I don't know. This one, man, this one we got to talk about. Again, I do not do this at all. I really don't. And I don't do it because like I'm afraid of what people might think. It's just that, I don't want to, I don't know why my brain wants to be like, hey, I don't want to like anger people or like think it's a waste of time and stuff. But, it's just one of those things of like, what's the point? I'm here to bring you wrestling stories and stuff. So yeah. This one, I really don't know who Matt is. But apparently Matt has worked on AEW and like other stuff too. But his tweet, right? I only took the first part and then I'll go into the second part. So he says, how the hell do y'all not get that talent in AEW are on cycles? They get over on TV, they have title matches on TV, but if you're not top tier, you build up your win-losses on Dark and Dark Evolution, and once you're ranked, shocker, you show back up on TV. First of all, for someone like myself that covers professional wrestling and loves professional wrestling to death and can wake up, every single day and talk about wrestling, write about wrestling, whatever the case may be, like my passion is there, it's on my sleeve. I no longer have time to watch everything to try to keep up with storylines. And even when the wrestlers who do wrestle on Dark and Dark Evolution, they have no story. Wins and losses cannot just make up your story of like, all right, cool, I got, I don't know, 10 wins. Does that equal a title shot? Like, I don't know, man. Like, does that equal a title shot? Does 10 wins on either Dark or Dark Evolution grant me a title shot? I don't know how that works. Other than like going through the ranks, I get that part. But if there is no story, if there is no excitement going on in Dark and Dark Evolution, because it's thought of as an afterthought because it's on YouTube, why should I care? Why should I go and take time out of my day to go watch a YouTube show that's like an hour, maybe 2 hours long? I don't know how many matches they have now, like 16, maybe. Okay, like 16 matches the last time I heard. And then, to me, that's like me going to my local indies and watching a bunch of matches that are probably not going to continue next month. Like, I don't need that. And then the other thing too is that AEW has this rotation and I don't like that. It's because, I get it. It keeps the guys fresh. And I get that, you don't want other guys to get injured and you want, to substitute it in and stuff. I get that. But this is wrestling. This is creating a program on national television that, you're trying to tell stories. That person that worked an 8-hour shift, maybe a 12-hour shift, want to come home and turn on some cable television and watch their favorite product, which may happen to be professional wrestling, and get lost for like 2 to 3 hours in professional wrestling, in sports entertainment, in telling stories and getting away from the misery that they're in. So I hate this mentality that AEW people, AEW fans on Twitter or whatever, have this conception that you have to watch everything of AEW. If there is no continuing storyline that's happening from when you fall off of AEW TV all the way to like Dark and Dark Evolution, then what is the point? How can I tell my fans the difference between Dark Evolution, Dynamite, and Rampage when it's all the same? Like, I don't get it. You know, the rotation thing can work if you are an indie promotion, because not every month you're going to get the same guys back. You know, one wrestler that wrestles this month may not be on the next show next month because they're booked somewhere else. Or you didn't book them fast enough to be like, hey, you know, can you come over this month again? Like, the rotation for that is fine for indie promotion. But when you're on the big leagues, on cable television, you know, not even free TV. If they still have that channel, they still have the free TV channel, like they used to do like back in the 90s and stuff, and like maybe 80s. You know, so like having that rotation system on a major company that we call it a major company makes no sense to me, because I want to keep up with stories. You don't do that on an HBO special or like a Netflix show. Your main characters stay around each other, and then maybe like the supporting character may like come in. Imagine if like one of your favorite Netflix shows, like you see the main character like in 2 episodes, and then all of a sudden in episodes like 3 through, I don't know, 13, we get all the supporting cast members, and then 14, 15, 16, we get the main character come back. And then again, the main character disappears. And then, you know, we have the supporting characters. That's not going to keep anyone's attention, and people are going to get frustrated. So this is basically like a frustration of mine, is that I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we're rotating. You know, on paper, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic to be like, hey, rotation on paper, awesome. But when you really try to execute it, you're gonna need to do like trial and error and try to make it in a way where people can care for AEW Dark. You know what they do on Dynamite? They don't even recap like AEW Dark and Evolution, because it would be helpful if they did. All right, this is marketing 101, since AEW needs help in marketing. If they did recap of AEW Dark and Dark Evolution, maybe more people who are at home sitting in front of their TVs watching AEW Dark on watching AEW Dynamite on Rampage, oh my god, watching AEW Dark on TBS, then maybe they'll tune in to the YouTube side of things. But are they doing that? No, they're not doing that. It's okay to hold a wrestling fan's hand, but not like to the extent of like you're explaining everything to them, but just enough so that way their eyes can go over to YouTube and, you know, get you a couple more views. You know, the more that you do that, the better it is. And then maybe I can understand the rotation system a little bit more, you know, or, you know, to have the wrestlers be like, hey, I'm wrestling on AEW Dark this week, because I have some unfinished business with this wrestler, right? So let's say that, you know, they could start little mini feuds. But no, nobody does any of that. Nobody mentions that they're wrestling on AEW Dark. We get the graphics, and then that's it. We get the graphics. There's nothing else. We just know that AEW Dark and AEW Dark Evolution are like the dumpsters of wrestling when they can't fit on the main show. And if you can't fit on the main show, then you have an overabundance, and you need to start cutting down people and release people and make sure that your show is how it should be. I get it that people, you know, need, you know, money, and they need to work because, you know, wrestling is not always guaranteed. And I get that. I totally do. But you have to really be smart about how you want your enterprise to look. You have to be smart about how you want to go forward. And you can definitely take from your competitor. You don't have to like completely shut them out. But there are certain things that Vince already did and has proven to be like 100% effective. And you could take from that, you could learn from that, and then you can make it your own. It's not saying that you have to copy off of WWE, but there are certain things that Vince already did that has definitely been 100% effective that you can apply to AEW. And one of them will be fucking recaps. Another one will definitely be either doing away with the ranking system or trying to fix it to where like it makes sense. And the reason why people are fighting, because I just don't like to see on my Twitter timeline one day that some random person that hasn't really been there, automatically gets a title shot. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Because then it also feels the same way of like the WWE guys coming in to AEW and then they rack up all these wins against the smaller guys and get a title shot as well. So I don't know. It's just really, really weird and stupid. Um, Let me see what else is here. Oh yeah. Also, I don't know why people do this. I really do hate when people tend to write tweets like this and try to compare it to baseball. Stop comparing professional wrestling to baseball, basketball, hockey, volleyball, tennis, golf, football, like soccer, let's throw rugby in there. Like, stop comparing professional wrestling to all of these sports that have an off season. And yeah, I get it. They have a really big roster, so they're able to rotate their guys. But professional wrestling is on a whole nother league. Professional wrestling is something different than all of those static sports. It's not the same thing. So I would appreciate it if people can stop comparing professional wrestling to baseball. Like, it makes no fucking sense. These guys, yeah, every single person that plays in a sport is definitely an athlete, not taking that away. The other thing too is that everyone else that's not in professional wrestling, those guys don't take bumps. The most that NBA players do is basically hurt their knee over and over because of the shock of jumping up and down, so obviously they get knee problems. Football players get concussions, knee problems, everything else. But in general, other sports that are not professional wrestling are not taking bumps. Professional wrestlers take bumps. You cannot compare professional wrestling to any other fucking sport, and I really need you guys to stop doing that. That was the reply tweet, the extra tweet to this one, where again it's compared to baseball. Don't do it. Stop it. Makes no fucking sense. This one really got me a little upset because it's not fair that people like him or like other people would think that, oh, you have all the time in the world to go and watch all this stuff. But if there's nothing connecting, right? Like, if you're not connecting anything, why do I have to go waste my time for it? Especially someone like me who has to analyze all of this, turn it into very good entertaining analysis of professional wrestling, so you guys can love the story a little bit more. That makes my job harder, especially when I'm not on a payroll. That's also another thing too. But yeah, I really do not like this tweet at all. And no, if Kyle from Smack Raw Pod sees this, I am not stealing his gimmick. For those of you that don't know, Smack Raw Pod, they also have a Twitch channel, and they have a show called Unpopular Wrestling Opinions. And no, I am not stealing your gimmick, okay? So I am not stealing your gimmick. But I do want to be back on the show one day. We'll see if we can make that happen. Let's see. So no more stuff about AEW. What do I want to do first? I want to do Impact first, Ring of Honor first, or New Japan first. I have no idea which one I want to do first. Let's see. Chat, what do you think I should do first? Ring of Honor Supercard. So you can hear me talk more about how Ring of Honor is probably going to become like AEW 2.0. New Japan Pro Wrestling Lone Star, or Impact. I was gonna say Ring of Honor again. Let me know in the chat. Um, I'm tweeting out just so you guys know if you guys are not hearing anything. I mean, I did title this CM Punk No Show at this thing. Let's see. I'm just thinking in my head. I had a lot of fun um watching Ring of Honor Supercard. Yeah, you know what? We should probably do that. Continuing it from AEW talk. Um all right. So, let me switch pictures here to something else. This thing looks so squished. Okay. Let me just do it like this. All right, so let's talk about ROH Supercard of Honor. You know, this started at 7. They had 0 hour. And that's such a AEW thing to do. You know, so let me just make sure I don't miss anything on the timeline. So yeah, that is such an AEW thing to do, is to have 0 hour, and that's just to bring in people, you know, and stuff like that. But you know, it is what it is, right? So for 0 hour, we had Blake Christian versus Colt Cabana, which was, you know, pretty nice. It's a Colt Cabana match. Colt Cabana is like super nice in the ring, very unorthodox, very different when it comes to professional wrestling. So I appreciate Colt Cabana and everything. So yeah, we had that for the pre-show. I don't think it's on. It's not on here. Aside from the pre-show, we had also I think a tag match. Yeah. A tag match where Tully revealed his 2 newest clients. We'll talk about the third one, and you know, the third one is basically why I think Ring of Honor is just going to be AEW 2.0. So Tully, hey Joey, what's up? Joy, what? I am so sorry. I butcher your name. I really am. I'm so sorry. I thought it was like, Joey, but it's Joyum. How's it going, man? Thanks for joining the stream. So yeah. Tully introduces Toa Leona and Quan or Khan. It should be Quan. I might be mispronouncing his name and I'm so sorry. So yeah. He introduces them so that way they can have a tag match against who the hell did they have a tag match at? Well, I should say with. Who do they have a tag match with? I gotta look this up. Hold on. Oh yeah, by the way, Colt Cabana won against Blake Christian. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, so introducing Toa Leona and Quan, they took on the team of the Shinobi Shadow Squad, which was Cheeseburger and Isom. And I haven't heard of Isom's name in a very long time. So when I heard that he was, wrestling at Ring of Honor yesterday, that was pretty cool. Toa Leona was seen on AEW Dark as well as Quan, and then they had this match. What I don't like is that it just felt like it was a reintroduction to like Authors of Pain, even though Tully did not manage Authors of Pain in NXT. It was Elrig, but it's just the idea and the way that it felt, the way that it looked, the way that it was presented. It felt like we had Authors of Pain versus the Shinobi Shadow Squad. They did call them the Gates of Agony, which, by the way, I could just tell that people don't know how to come up with stable names anymore. You can like throw names at the wall and see what sticks, but sometimes like there should be like a feeling out process for creating a name for the stable and stuff like that. Like I really don't like the Gates of Agony. This was an okay match, but again, it's like big guys versus small guys, that whole squash mentality to show how big and fearsome they are. And there it goes. The AEW 101 logic, the Tony Khan 101 logic, just because of like, it just doesn't make any sense to still do that. I don't know why they don't put big guys against big guys or big guys against like decent sized guys that can hold their own in the match. Like I don't understand that. Um so yeah. Um I was gonna say Authors of Pain. Gates of Agony pick up the victory in their tag match on the pre-show, and then we have our women's match, which was AQA versus Miranda, and they need to work more together to have like sparring matches and stuff. It was okay, it was decent enough, but not like to the level of where it should be. Obviously this was like their first time fighting against each other, and that's always like the case sometimes, but other than that, like it should have been like a little bit more smoother. um AQA does get the victory over this like in this match, so that was pretty surprising. And those were the 3 matches for the Supercard of Honor. And now we go to the main card, and we get to talk about the main card. Which I hope you guys saw this already. If you did not, this is all spoiler alert starting here. So yeah, let's get started with right down at the bottom where it says Ninja Mac versus the new client that Tully Blanchard has. So Tully Blanchard says that his new client is Brian Cage. All right, cool. Good pickup. Because we can all see that Brian Cage cannot stand on his own. I personally think that Brian Cage should have went to WWE, because at least with WWE, it can definitely what do you call it? Help him in character development, talking on the mic, and even talking on social media. Because there was a couple of times, well, almost all the time, where Ricky Starks definitely put Brian Cage in his place when it came to social media, and it was just like, you know, so bad. So yeah, I personally think that Brian Cage will thrive in WWE. I really do think so. The other thing too is that, what I didn't like about this match was that you hear on commentary, Ian Riccaboni says that, they put out on Twitter, Ring of Honor put out on Twitter, like the hashtag of Choose Your Honor, and they were trying to get a sense of the fans of like who they really wanted on this Supercard of Honor. Everyone said we wanted Ninja Mac. He was, the most hashtag person, the most talked about person. So that's what the fans wanted. He was the favorite fan picked. Now, knowing that bit of information from Ian made me go and say that, well, because he's fighting Brian Cage, he is not winning. He is going to get squashed. He is only there as enhancement talent for Brian Cage, because a lot of people have probably forgotten about Brian Cage ever since he had the mini falling out and Max Caster, getting some jabs in while he's freestyling, and both of them met up at a local indie show. So basically, like, it makes no sense. And this again is Tony Khan Formula 101, AEW Formula 101. You stick somebody who is small / decent against a big guy, and basically Ninja Mac really didn't get in anything. This match was just to enhance Brian Cage, to have you guys go, oh my god, he's so powerful, he's so, like a monster and everything, like all the feelings you felt when he first came into AEW during the ladder match. And, it's just that, like, I'm tired of that. But nobody on Twitter wants to call this out and be like, hey, Ring of Honor should not feel like it's AEW 2.0. Ring of Honor needs to feel like it's Ring of Honor. Like, we all sit here and we're like, yo, what made Ring of Honor so good? Story, wrestlers, passion, great matchups, great pure wrestling matches. And I really do sometimes love the pure wrestling rules style of matches. It just depends on who you get, because not everyone is like a match made in heaven. There's certain people that are really, really good. And I'll go more into depth about this a little bit later. But like, just to go off a little bit, like the Briscoes versus FTR, that tag match brought me back to why I love Ring of Honor, and why Ring of Honor was the first ever like local indies that I like show I ever went to in New York City. Like, there's a reason why, like, I love Ring of Honor. It's because of all that passion, all that pride that they have. And the wrestlers are going to be great and shit like that, right? So, I just don't understand why fans don't want to call this out and be like, you can't do this to, like, our favorite wrestlers all the time. They need a one-up. And no, we shouldn't be going for that underdog story that, like, Fuego's trying to tell. Like, no. I totally get that tickets and probably merch sell when you have the underdog, but not everybody could be the underdog. The same way that not everybody can like get a shot at the championship title or our champion material. Sometimes people are just great at doing what they do and they don't feel like they need a championship title. Not everybody is meant for like the same routines over and over and over. And we've seen the underdog story so many times that it's like, why are we doing the underdog story? Why are we going to do that? Is Ninja Mac going to ask for a rematch on Wednesday Night Dynamite or Rampage and be like, Brian Cage, you got the best of me. I know nothing about you, but we We wrestled at Supercard of Honor, but I want a rematch because I know that I could defeat you. Right? Like, are we going to do that? No, because Tony Khan doesn't believe in rematches. Tony Khan doesn't believe in continuing fucking stories unless the wrestlers want to continue stories, but then the wrestlers get caught up in, oh, I got the win. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to do any other work. I'm just going to go probably home, sit home, and that's about it. But, like, you know, sometimes it just feels like the wrestlers who want to make stories, the wrestlers who want to be on Dynamite and be on Rampage, I don't know if they ever think about, like, hey, we should continue the story. I just think that sometimes it's more of like, um, they had the match, they're tired, you know, they got their comfortable money and that's it. Until somebody brings it up, then, you know, they'll probably start thinking about it. But there's no sense of urgency of like, hey, let's create an angle because you caught me off guard. This match that's between Brian Cage and Ninja Mac, you definitely caught Ninja Mac off guard. And that's not fair to him. Even though wrestlers should somewhat always be prepared, they're prepared to wrestle. Who they're wrestling is like for debate. But like, you know, you just don't throw him in there with Brian Cage just to get Brian Cage moving and stuff like that. Like, I hated that. So, you know, that right there just tells me I'm not sure if Tony Khan is ready to have another company when he can't fix home base. And this, whatever Ring of Honor is going to be in the future, should not be a Band-Aid. It should not be a Band-Aid. All right. I could go on for that forever. All right, so let's go to we're going to do Alex Zane versus Swerve. I'm just going to say it out there. I do not get Alex Zane, but then again, I really don't watch much to any of his matches. I just know him by word of mouth because I have friends on Twitter that would definitely put him over, and apparently he loves Taco Bell sauces or just sauces in general. So that's what I know about him. Swerve, I respect Swerve for, you know, his rapping ability, but other than that, I don't get him. I need to like really sit down and like pay attention to like everything that he does. But yeah, I don't get these two. They put on a very interesting match, a very good match. You know, there wasn't really huge takeaways for me to like really talk about it. Alex Zane is really good. Swerve is really good. But then again, you know, there was nothing for it. And I just can't really say much. Would I like some more matches between them? Sure. They'll be nice to watch, a nice little chase for something. That's what's missing in professional wrestling is sometimes the chase between two people. And sometimes matches are good when they are good one-off matches and you're just like, oh, that was it, you know. But sometimes if you have like a chase, a nice rivalry of just matches, people will enjoy it, you know. Even if like a championship title is not attached to it, but people would enjoy a nice little chase back and forth between two wrestlers that just want to prove to each other that they are really the best that they say they are, and then prove to the fans that, you know, they're good as well. Let's go over to Jay Lethal and Lee Moriarty. This was good. Also, another good thing is that during the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, they were playing video packages. I need AEW to play video packages to get people up to speed, especially when people fall off, because, spoiler alert, guys, not every episode of AEW Dynamite is a banger. Not every episode of AEW Dynamite is must-see. All that shit looks good on paper, but if you can't execute it right and keep people's attention in storytelling aspects, both inside the ring and outside the ring, and not have five women matches. Imagine you guys have 5 women matches, and not have 5 women segments. One being a match, and the rest being backstage shit. You know, That doesn't make AEW Dynamite a banger. It really doesn't. Um, it just makes, AEW Dynamite, basically when it's presented to you like that, means that AEW could do whatever they want because you guys are going to be complacent about it. So yeah, I like the fact that Ring of Honor had these video packages explaining why Jay Lethal was going against Lee Moriarty. I don't think they had one for Zayn versus Swerve, but like the main ones, they had like really good video packages for that. That match was really good. I love the fact that Jay Lethal was turning heel. I was so happy for that because I am tired of someone of like Lethal's caliber, and other wrestlers that have come in and they just came off and they're really like hot off the press in a way. And they go to AEW and they have their chance. They fail at their chance, and then they are put on Dark and Dark Evolution. Why? That feels like punishment. That feels like, you got to send them back to the fucking developmental territories. Just because they didn't win or keep the momentum or whatever. Like, no. I will not stand for that. That's something stupid. Excuse me. That's just something like really, really stupid. Like, you send them to Dark for what? So that way they could get better and get wins. Why can't they get wins on AEW Dynamite so people can be like, oh, this is Jay Lethal. This is why I should be a fan of Jay Lethal. You're not growing your audience if they're gonna be put on YouTube. Do you know how many new fans you could have got with like Ruby Soho if you would have kept her on Dynamite, still had her chasing and stuff like that? But she seems so freaking content on being on Dark and Dark Evolution. For what? No one even talks about her anymore. And it bothers me. It really bothers me. Like, yes, sure, people can like go back to YouTube and watch it because it's like on demand. But again, who in their working life has time to go do that? We want to see you blossom every single week on television because you mean something to the company. You mean something to, the sponsors and, Warner Media and all that. Like, you mean something. I just don't like this whole thing that Jay Lethal got reverted back to AEW Dark and Dark Evolution and then taking bookings. And then we're like, yo, where are you? But this match is really good to sort of reignite like why Jay Lethal was so good. Jay Lethal is definitely one of the best in the business, and yet then AEW is like, oh no, you're just gonna be on Dark Evolution and job to Jon Moxley. What? Why are you jobbing to Jon Moxley? Why do we need to have a match of Jon Moxley versus Jay Lethal? Why? They could have gave him any other fucking jobber in the back and it would have still been fine. But you want to give Jon Moxley a big name, so that way Jay Lethal could be in a lose-lose situation. Like, I just don't fucking get it. Anyway, this match was really good. Lee Moriarty is very, very good in the ring. Very good. Hey! I think I have a follow. Do I have a follow? Yes, I do. I have a follow. I'm sorry. I don't think I fixed. Oh yeah, it comes up. But I didn't put a sound to let me know that it is a follow. Marcus Devil May Cry, thank you for following the channel. How are you doing? How are you? Anyway, so yeah, what do you call it? Yeah, Lee Moriarty is very, very great in the ring. I don't know why we don't see more of him. We could all make the argument that, Lee is probably still maybe a little bit green, but he has definitely shown, that he could hang in the ring with a lot of veterans and stuff like that. Of course, every wrestler can improve on anything, sure. But I just need to see more of Lee Moriarty. I want to see more of the young guys take positions where it's like, more the forefront, so that way I could be like, all right, this feels like AEW and it doesn't feel like WWE Invasion, you know. Sure, there's people that online that will always say that, you know, the WWE guys had careers before WWE, and I totally get that. But because WWE is such a juggernaut in the world of professional wrestling, you have that WWE stigma. You know, I could tell you guys here that I helped out IWA over in New Jersey. I helped out Evolve at one point. And I helped out Titan Championship Wrestling at one point. I helped out, you know, other little things in my background. But when I tell you that I accomplished my 7-year-old dream for working at WWE as a WWE Network logger, which basically meant that I sat in a cubicle for 8 hours and I basically made the SEO stronger. I made the SEO stronger for you in the network, so that way when you are searching for like specific John Cena matches, they should come up. Specific Undertaker matches, they should pop up. If you wanted stuff from like the Divas era, that all should pop up with nothing in between or anything off. So that was my job when I was at WWE. So when I talk to you about that, you're not gonna say that, hey, Marie Shadows helped out on, you know, IWA, Titan Championship Wrestling, Evolve, and FTW. Like, you guys are not going to remember that. You guys are going to remember that I came from WWE. I have a WWE background. So for anybody out there on Twitter that says, oh, these guys have you know, careers outside of WWE, yes, it's true. However, the juggernaut of WWE, that thing stays with you. No one remembers anything else except that if you made it on your career, on your path, your journey, whatever you want to call it, if you stop by WWE, you're WWE. Like, there is no ways around it, unless, like, you know, you stay home and then eventually you go somewhere else after, you know, they release you. Marcus Devil May Cry says, why Samoa Joe songs sound like a final boss? Because he is the damn final boss, man. We'll get to Joe. We'll get to Joe in this conversation. I just want to go through all the matches correctly and give my take on them. But yeah, Samoa Joe, like, I fucking love that dude, man. I love that dude. All right, so let's quickly talk about the Ring of Honor World TV Championship title, which had Rhett Titus versus Suzuki, right? First of all, when you go head to head with Suzuki, right, you know for a fact that you're probably not going to win. You know, this match didn't really need to happen. For some reason, when they give American opponents to Suzuki, it's not the same as you watch like New Japan Pro Wrestling or New Japan Strong, you know? So I'm gonna like mix the two, even though I'm probably gonna talk about this match again in my head. Well, not in my head. It's gonna talk about it to you guys. But Rhett Titus was definitely not giving Minoru Suzuki the standard match type that you usually get when you get Suzuki. The same thing with Killer Cross. Nothing. I'm just like, yo, what's the point of this? I was not expecting Suzuki to win the ROH World TV Championship title off of Rhett Titus. Definitely not. But I was like super happy that, you know, they gave him the championship title match. And basically because that was the first title to change hands, I automatically knew that most likely the Ring of Honor, I can't say originals, but the ones that stood throughout the pandemic are not probably going to be here, except for, you know, Jonathan Gresham. But then again, you know, it's nice to finally sort of give Suzuki his flowers and everything. He's 53 years old, man. He's still doing this. He laughs like a fucking maniac when you slap him on the chest. Because slapping him like fucking turns him on. Like, if you see his face, like, he loves that shit. Other than that, like, it wasn't really a spectacular match. I was just really surprised that they gave the belt to Suzuki. So congratulations to Minoru Suzuki of New Japan Pro Wrestling for winning the Ring of Honor TV Championship title. Whoever decides to go after him next for that, you know, pray to your God that you survive and you may or may not take the title back. So yeah. Let's head over to the women's match, which I fucking hate. Okay? Listen, I do not think that we needed a interim Ring of Honor Women's Champion when Deonna Purrazzo has been Ring of Honor Champion for a while and got the Ring of Honor belt off of Roxy, which Roxy is now part of WWE. Deonna got the belt off of Roxy at an Impact taping, and you're telling me that Tony Khan cannot call this match a number one contenders match to Deonna's championship title. This is where, you know, wrestling journalists are not going to ask Tony Khan the hard questions, especially during the media scrum. I would have really asked them, are you afraid of Deonna Purrazzo? Because by making an interim champion for Ring of Honor, your company that you like to flex about, tells me that you are afraid of Deonna, and you've been afraid of Deonna since the beginning of the pandemic. Because fans on Twitter have definitely been like, hey, we want Deonna Purrazzo versus Britt Baker. Did we ever get that? During the pandemic, Deonna was probably willing to do it. Britt was probably willing to do it. But sometimes it seems like Britt likes to hide behind, you know, AEW, and that might be because she does both dentist, like being a dentist and also wrestling too. So trying to fit that into her schedule is kind of off. But you know, Tony Khan likes making very huge matches, but he never touched Deonna versus Britt Baker. And I don't know the reason why he didn't do it, but that was a missed opportunity. A missed opportunity that should have never happened. So, you know, is he afraid of certain women? Because he doesn't have a good track record when it comes to, you know, for certain women. He doesn't have a good track record. All of my red flags go up whenever he deals with the women's division and books the women's division and let them run what they want to do and what they want to say. And sometimes it's like you got to pull that back and remind them that, and this goes for the guys, remind everybody that we're on TV. We got to sort of like, you know, I don't want to say stick to TV rules, but make it make sense, you know. I just don't like the fact that this was an interim Ring of Honor Women's Championship title match, meaning that, you know, congratulations to Mercedes Martinez. She fucking deserves to have a championship title. However, if I was her, I would have been like, no, I don't want to be interim. You know, I want to be number one contender so I could fight Deonna for her championship title and take it back home, because obviously, like, you don't really give two shits and you're petty that Deonna had to fulfill Impact obligations. Like, the whole pettiness just makes me feel like, you know, he wants to be the top dog of like every wrestling promotion out there. Yes, he says that he loves professional wrestling and he loves Ring of Honor, but I'm like, why do you treat the women like they're second best if they're not kissing your ass? You know? I just have a lot of questions. No one's really asking the hard questions to him to try to get an understanding of his mentality, because you don't do that to your champion of the company you just bought. No matter what, that's your champion. You respect your champion, and that's what happened during, you know, back in the day, during the territory days. Those champions were respected. Why is Deonna Purrazzo not respected as a champion, especially a Ring of Honor champion? Like, why is that not happening? Deonna has definitely reinvented herself. Deonna has definitely had a resurgence in her career. And, you know, we're all talking about Deonna. You know, we're all talking about her. We're all seeing where she's gonna go next. And so to really dismiss your Ring of Honor Women's Champion, your current Ring of Honor Women's Champion, who is defending that championship title on Impact Wrestling, and to pull an interim championship match like this, definitely tells me that you are afraid of Deonna Purrazzo. That's just the most logical way of doing it. I do want to give a shout out to Ross, who's a co-host of Thomas Island, and his tweet was very, very eye-opening. His tweet was very logically sound. And that's why I fucking love following Ross's Twitter account, because most of the times, if I'm not thinking of something, you know, he's already thinking about it. And he basically said on his tweet that the reason why, or a possible reason why, I should say, a possible reason why Tony Khan made it a Ring of Honor interim women's championship match between Mercedes Martinez and Willow is because he knows, meaning Tony Khan knows that if he were to say that this is a number one contenders match, that would give the power to Deonna Purrazzo. And I was like, that is completely right. That is 100% right. If you do name it a number one contenders match, the champion definitely has the power for that. But Deonna's not going to turn down a championship title match. Deonna's not going to turn down an open challenge match. So why are you afraid? What were you afraid of? Why can't you call it a number one contenders match? We don't need champions to be carrying around two belts for the same fucking division. It makes no sense. We saw that with Sammy Guevara carrying around two fucking TNT championship belts. Like, why? Why do we need interims? You know, one of my followers did reply back to me saying that they see it a lot in MMA. Guess what? This is wrestling. It's not MMA. You can't necessarily, you know, do one thing that's good in MMA that probably makes sense in professional wrestling, where like we know that it's okay to have number one contender matches. It's okay to have DQs. It's okay to have rematches. It's okay to have everything that we know that we watched for the past 20, 30, 40 years. You're not reinventing the wheel like you think you are by having interim matchups. Like, no, you're not reinventing the wheel. So yeah. Anyway, I could go on and on about this because for some reason the women's division and women wrestlers don't get a fair shake when it comes to professional wrestling. And I'm not saying that, you know, we're still back in the old days and stuff like that. Just as certain little things that just don't make sense, where, you know, it does need to be called out, to be questioned. Not necessarily be like, oh, it sucks and move on, but no, to question it. Because when you question something, right, you obviously want to look for answers. You obviously want to understand. That's just human nature, where like you're constantly questioning something. We question so that way we can have a conversation. We question so that we can grow up here in our minds. We question so we can definitely understand the problem and identify the problem. But when it comes to women's wrestling, we haven't yet identified the fucking problem, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's because of like, you know, men running the division and not like women running the division. But then again, I don't want anything separated. But that's like the easiest thing to go to. But generally, I don't want nobody separated. I want everybody to work together. I want everybody to bounce off their ideas from each other, so that way they can make them stronger, and they can understand that maybe the approach that the woman wrestler wants to do in her story may not work. And then they give them A, B, C, D as their reasons why. And then you go off from there and you're like, okay, that makes sense. Let me go with option B and change the story. And then people give you a more welcome received. I messed that up. They give them a warm welcome received for it. You know? I just don't want like us to always be complaining about how the women get treated versus how the men get treated. You know? Also, the match was decent. Um Willow, you know, as much as she's a very nice, sweet person, and she's very bubbly and she's a very good baby face, there's certain things that she needs to work on, and this match sort of exposed a little bit of that, because she was in the ring with a veteran like Mercedes Martinez. Um, you know, Willow almost freaking killed Mercedes with that moonsault, and the knee ending up hitting Mercedes in the chest. Um, but yeah, in the end, Mercedes Martinez picks up the victory and is our interim ROH Women's Champion. Um, and you know, it's like congratulations again to Mercedes Martinez. But it would have been nice if she would have been number one contender, so that way she could face Deanna and actually be crowned in all of her glory, given all of her flowers, given all of her praise, all of her respect, by transferring the title over to Mercedes Martinez. But no, you know, I'm not on I am not on the committee. So yeah. Um anyway, uh yeah. How are you guys doing in chat so far? I know I have like a lot of opinions. A lot of opinions. I want to hear from you guys. While I go and refill my water. So yeah, I want to hear from you guys. All right. Uh so while I wait for anybody to put their opinions in, um I'm gonna rest my voice a little bit because I know that me talking. Whew. All right. Um, yeah, I'm just taking a little bit to thanks Vortex, a little bit to rest my voice. All right. So, let's keep going. Um Oh yeah, I did put that. Okay. All right. All right. So we were hold on. Okay, I thought I was frozen. So, never mind me. Um So yeah, let's move on to the next match. Will be the Ring of Honor Pure Championship title match. So for anybody that's new to Ring of Honor implemented the pure style match. I think it should have been. I don't know why my brain wants to say 2015. I don't think it was 2015. Um, let's see. 2004. Okay, yeah, it was 2004. So February 14th, 2004. That is when the date for the Ring of Honor Pure championship title happened, and then like the pure matches. So basically, a pure wrestling style match. It is completely different from your regular match because it has a little bit more rules. So Ring of Honor always prided themselves on being pure and sportsmanlike in the ring because um it is a bout, it is a combat and stuff, so you respect your thing, you respect your opponent, not your thing, you respect your opponent. Anyway, so these are the rules for the pure match. They're the pure wrestling rules. Rule number 1: each wrestler has 3 rope breaks to stop submission holds and pinfalls during the match. After a wrestler exhausts his rope breaks, submission and pin attempts under the rope by the opponent are considered legal. So basically, like if someone has you in like a Boston Crab or a single leg Boston Crab or some type of submission, and you crawl your way to the rope and you grab it, that's it. You used one. After all 3, you can technically use just slide your hand underneath the rope, where it's like on the apron still. That will be considered legal, and that would do it. But we don't really get that far unless like you have some really tough ass opponents where you're struggling and shit. Number 2: there are no close fist punches to the face allowed in a pure match. Only open handed slaps or chops to the face are allowed. Punches to other parts of the body, save for low blows, are permitted. The first use of a closed fist will get a warning, and the second will cause the wrestler to be penalized a rope break. If he is already out of rope breaks, he will be disqualified. So basically, no close punches, more like slaps and stuff. That's pretty self-explanatory. And number 3, a wrestler is subject to a 20 count by the referee if the wrestler goes to the floor. And then also to note, unlike other championships, the Ring of Honor Pure Championship could change hands on a disqualification. So that is the rules of the pure wrestling match, and that is what Josh Woods and Yuta Wheeler had. And basically the match was okay. It was too slow to my liking, but then again, you know, when you're watching pure wrestling matches, depending on who you have, like, determines the pace and everything like that. So basically, you know, this match was okay. A little too slow for my liking. Wheeler Yuta was doing like the feeling out process because he never been in a pure wrestling match. So that was his first time being in one, and you can definitely give me a second here. He was definitely like feeling this out, and he was like he was definitely like you know, not understanding a little bit about it because it's a little different. He's used to regular wrestling matches, and like, I don't know if he does death matches. I don't think he does death matches, but he's used to that. You could definitely tell how, like, I don't want to use the word green that Wheeler Yuta is. Wheeler Yuta has some, you know, really nice moves in his repertoire and in his moveset, but yeah, man, this match sort of exposed him a little bit because he wasn't used to this at all. I was surprised that the championship title changed hands and Josh Woods you know, passed the title on to Yuta, and I was definitely surprised. I'm like, oh, his first championship title, interesting, this is great. So yeah, let's see what Wheeler Yuta can definitely do with you know, him being Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He's definitely gonna have to like learn a lot more of the way you wrestle in a pure championship title match. But I think he got it. It was a decent match between the two. I wasn't expecting too much. And my expectations, like, you know, was like low. But congratulations to Wheeler Yuta of getting the Ring of Honor Pure Championship title. And for you guys to know also, Wheeler Yuta is part of Chaos, which is, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's gonna be very interesting. Chaos has some gold in their ranks. Yeah, so basically, the next matchup is the tag team match, man. Okay, I only paused because there are children playing in the hallway, so I really hope that it doesn't really pick up on the mic, and it may or may not pick up on the mic. Either way. So the next one we're going to talk about is the tag team match. And this is the match that I was talking about before, that it like brought back that nostalgia feeling of Ring of Honor and like what it meant, and you know, that feeling of this is home. It felt like it was home because I've watched the Briscoes basically grow up in the business in a sense. I have some Ring of Honor stories that like involved like their parents and them and whatnot. Like, it was really great. FTR has been running their fucking mouth on Twitter. Well, mainly Dax. Dax has been running his mouth on Twitter, and sometimes I'm just like, bro, like, stop running your mouth, man. Like, you know, either put up or shut up. And they definitely like put up in this match. I should have recorded my reaction to it because I was really like hollering about this because it just felt so old school. It felt so nice. It felt like the Ring of Honor of old, where, you know, the fans will get into it, you'll get into it, like everything is all infectious. And I guess the way that they build up with this, like it really made a difference for it. And I'm really proud of the Briscoes, and I'm really proud of FTR, even though I think Dax is the only one that could probably get on my fucking nerves with the way that he tweets, and I'm like, bro, stop it. Anyway, this match was really, really, really good. We had some blood, of course we did. The Briscoes proved why they are, one of the best tag teams in the division, and they prove like why they belong and why they are like Ring of Honor staples. Um, you know, FTR proved why they're still one of the best tag teams there are, but with their booking, I'm just like, yo, I can't believe it, like 24/7. The Briscoes, I believe 24/7. FTR, I don't believe 24/7, depending on who they're fighting, right? So basically, this match was really great from start to finish. It was evenly matched too. Both teams got in enough damage where it didn't feel like one was, overtaking than the other, because you know how that formula goes where one team dominates and then the other team is like playing the extreme babyface. This wasn't it. Like I didn't feel that. Like I was definitely immersed into the story, into everything that they were doing. They were completely fucking banged up. And it proved that these guys are definitely the best at their job, at their caliber and everything. What I really would like to say is that if you guys saw that Dax threw in the steel chair and Paul Turner caught it, Paul Turner is definitely another staple of Ring of Honor. And when I find the video and I put it together, I'm definitely going to say, next world champ or our next world champ, because back in the day in Ring of Honor, I was there for one of the events, and this was when Austin Aries was really big back then, and he's walking up the ramp. And so they get up to the ramp, and there's this drunken fan that basically like says some stuff to Austin Aries, and Austin got into his face. Austin at the time was a heel, and he basically, like, they were all like in their face, like, right, the drunk fan and Austin Aries were like having some words. In comes Paul Turner and like sort of chokes out the fan to get him to calm down and stuff, and like not have a really bad situation escalate. And after that fucking happened, everybody in the crowd chanted next world champ, next world champ. And so that's one of my fondest memories of being at Ring of Honor, and being in the crowd and just remembering that was a really fun time. I have some other Ring of Honor stories, but I might have to make it a Ring of Honor night. And maybe if I get the courage to invite the Briscoes onto it, and we can have like a Ring of Honor night and talk about some weird ass fucking stories, just for your entertainment. And if you guys like that, let me know down in the chat, or follow me at Marie_Shadows and let me know it that way. But yeah, so I was really happy that Paul Turner got to ref a Ring of Honor match that had both of them. Oh, and I'm also really happy that Tony Khan did not let Bryce Rensburg and ref Aubrey ref any of those matches until they stop overreacting for every little thing. Like, just don't ruin the moment. Them adding on with their overreacting does not help the story at all in wrestling matches. It doesn't help anything. It basically puts them over, and not all the time the ref is supposed to get over, because then that's like going into business for yourself. You're there to enhance the match. You should, but just don't overreact to the point where people are focusing on you, and you're not a wrestler, so you're not going to be able to add anything unless like they want you to have you in a spot. That's different. But if they don't have you in a spot, don't put yourself in a spot, yeah. So I am a little upset that the Briscoes lost the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships and they gave it to FTR. I would have kept it on the Briscoes and have the Briscoes still lead Ring of Honor, but it seems like maybe that's not going to be the case. And then we had the Young Bucks come out. The Young Bucks did the BTE trigger, I believe, onto Jay Briscoe. But yeah, they came out and they basically try to do the whole thing of that. Yeah, we bought, Ring of Honor. Try to pull like a Vince thing, right? So they did that, and then it was announced that for this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, basically we're gonna have FTR versus the Young Bucks Part 2 with a really quick ass build up. Very fucking stupid. But it's gonna be for the AAA tag team titles and not the Ring of Honor tag team titles. I think it is. But that's really fucking stupid. We have a short build up to a match that should have had like a really nice build up. But I'm not there to help out with booking decisions. So yeah. Anyway. Fantastic tag team match. That's about it. Now we get to the main event, which is the undisputed Ring of Honor World Championship title against having Jonathan Gresham, who is the interim champion, holding it for Bandito until Bandito was able to come back into the States. And Bandito is the actual champion. Okay, to my surprise and my knowledge, I did not know that they crowned an interim champion. Jonathan Gresham like walked out to like every Ring of Honor event, and like basically the way he carried himself as a believable Ring of Honor champion. So I did not know, that Bandito was the actual champion. I thought that Jonathan Gresham was because of how he presented himself, how he acted, how he dressed, how he talked, how he held the championship belt. He believed that he was a champion, and I believed it too, and that's always a good thing. But either way, I enjoyed the main event. The main event was something special, in a way. Especially when Bandito decided to tell the referee to kick out Chavo Guerrero, who is the manager to Bandito. And so Bandito did not want to, unfortunately, lose the championship belt, or even win it via interference. So what happened was that Bandito was out on the outside. Jonathan Gresham is getting ready to do a dive. However, Chavo came in, saved his own man by pushing Bandito out. Bandito did not really want that. He didn't like that. And so he was really upset about it. Told the referee basically booted out Chavo Guerrero, and then we continue the match a little bit longer. Eventually Bandito lost to Jonathan Gresham, and now Jonathan Gresham is the unified Ring of Honor World Champion. That was a really good back and forth match and stuff like that. So that was that. Now we get to the post matchup, where Jay Lethal comes out, and Jay Lethal is still being his heel self, and he wants the first championship title match against Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham still wants to uphold the pure Ring of Honor rules and what Ring of Honor stands for, and that it's sportsmanship. That's what it is. Jay Lethal didn't like that, and Jay Lethal had to remind Jonathan Gresham that, Jay Lethal basically made him. Without Jay Lethal, nobody would know who Jonathan Gresham is, and I'm going to have to agree with Jay Lethal because, I know Jay Lethal more. Jay Lethal has more of an impact for his name than Jonathan Gresham does. And I was explaining this yesterday to somebody else that it's not enough for you just to be a technical wrestler. You have to at least have a character, have the passion, have the gear and everything that makes you special and stand out from the rest of the pack. Because yes, you can do professional wrestling, and I love professional wrestling, and I love technical style wrestling. But if I'm not remembering you and talking about you the next day, then you're doing something wrong. You're not keeping my attention. Jay Lethal has a whole entire history, a career of reinventing himself. And so that's why I remember Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal did, the whole Macho Man thing, and that was pretty fun for a while. Jay Lethal basically did the wooing back and forth between him and Ric Flair. Jay Lethal was always in the X division and the matches. Jay Lethal put on really great clinics with like Samoa Joe and Ring of Honor, and like just held up Ring of Honor on his shoulders, held up TNA on his shoulders, and like the Indies. I don't think he ever went to WWE, but like I know of Jay Lethal more than I do of Jonathan Gresham, and that says a lot. So I was on the side of Jay Lethal and him being heel, talking about that he deserves a title shot. So obviously, Jay Lethal does not get what he wants, so he ends up beating the shit out of Jonathan Gresham. In comes Sanjay Dutt again, and they're best friends for years. And I remember Sanjay Dutt being a very huge part of Ring of Honor and TNA. And so basically, Sanjay is trying to get Jay Lethal off of Jonathan Gresham. It works a little bit, but then they become partners and they start beating up Jonathan Gresham together. And then we get the ultimate surprise. Which, by the way, it was kind of weird. Samoa Joe has been quiet ever since his release from WWE. So basically, I was like, yo, where is he going to show up? Like, he has been the most quiet one. Wrestling journalists are like, don't have a word on where Samoa Joe is going to be. But yet then, every 5 minutes, it's like, Cody is at WWE. Cody's at WWE. Cody's going to be at WWE. He's going to debut at WrestleMania. But where the fuck is Samoa Joe? No wrestling journalist can tell you. Anyway, so Joe comes out, and as soon as I heard the music, I was like, yo, that is Samoa Joe. I automatically knew. Joe has this thing of he has to get some hype ass, good ass music. And you know that, your days are numbered. You know that you're gonna be fighting your final boss in a sense, right? So basically, uh it's it was fantastic. He comes out, he I think he beat them up and whatnot. And then he pulled Jonathan Gresham up, shook his hand, and obviously like there's a lot of unfinished business. But we are going to hear from Samoa Joe on Wednesday night, AEW Dynamite, this Wednesday at 8 p.m. on TBS. So that's gonna be quite interesting where he's gonna speak his mind and let us know, what he's thinking and everything like that. I do want to comment on some of the media scrums. I don't know why Tony Khan has to be there for every single one of his people's media scrubs. Because honestly, I would feel like, yo, my boss is here, you're over my shoulder, like this is my time, not your time type of thing. But that's just how I am. Like if it's a media scrum for me as a performer, as a podcaster or whatnot, like yeah, I get that, Tony Khan is there signing checks for people and shit, being the boss or whatnot, but like that was so cringy that he was there for every single one of them. But the media is there to ask the wrestler the question. If I was there, like you're asking me the question, not necessarily him. It's my time, not your time. But that's just how I sort of see things. Unless you know, unless I ask for like him to stay there. Um anyway, so I remember that Jonathan Gresham said that during one of the media scrums, well during this media scrum that um hold on. Okay. Okay. So interesting. Where is this thing at? All right. Uh, all right. So, Jonathan Gresham says during the media scrum that if it wasn't for Tony Khan, Honor would have died. And now I can stick with the company that I have fallen in love with all these years ago. I don't have to wave another flag ever besides the Ring of Honor flag. Um, first of all, was there any like urgency for WWE to buy it? Um, I don't think we will ever know, but uh I just say it this way that if Ring of Honor and like Sinclair Broadcasting, if they did not put the company up for bidding like the day after they put out the statement of closing their doors and trying to revamp, if they did not put it up for bidding within like the next 2 days, let's say, then Honor would have never died. It was probably just gonna stay there until after Supercard of Honor is done and that obligation is complete and met. But I don't think it would have died, and I don't think WWE would want to buy it. I don't think they were looking to buy it. um I just think that sometimes people have this in their head that like, oh, because a company closed their doors and they had to do it in a very like sort of shitty way, that they think that it was gonna die. I mean, it probably would have died if Vince did pick it up, but I don't think there was a sense of urgency there. You know, but then again, I get that Ring of Honor is like a home to a lot of people, and yeah, I'm sort of glad that at least somebody has it. But I need it to feel like Ring of Honor. I don't need it. I don't need it to feel like AEW 2.0. Just because it has Tony Khan dealing with it. But it would have been nice if like Jonathan Gresham could have probably waved the New Japan banner, or waved his own banner because he has Terminus, or I think that's about it because I don't think WWE is gonna pick him up at all. But just to have those um to sort of like have this other options. Ring of Honor is not the only option, there could be a lot of other new guys, and if you're not like thinking about evolving or going outside of what your comfort is, then you're not really going to succeed and be like the big superstar that you may have wanted to be. So there's that, where he could have like had the flag for anyone else. um all right, so I went over the whole card, and I have called this um uh episode CM Punk No Show, which I asked this question on Twitter and nobody seems to answer me at all or give me any type of like shit for it. But if I talk about Jon Moxley, like they give me their opinions no matter what. They're like, oh, this is what we think, and that's that. When it comes to CM Punk, they like to talk big, but they don't say anything at all. So, Punk always says that Ring of Honor is his home. That's his like first love. Like he loves Ring of Honor. That's like one of the foundations of like that made him who he is today. So he did a lot of good for Ring of Honor. However, um he wasn't there. I'm surprised that he did not ask for a match. I am surprised he did not ask Tony Khan if he can have a couple moments with the crowd and basically talk and say something, have a little segment, or even ask to be on commentary or something. Like there was no CM Punk there, and yet then CM Punk raises the flag and raises the banner of I love this place. I love Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor made me, but you're not there. And yet then fans are like, oh my God, it's CM Punk. Oh, this is so great. Blah, blah, blah. He's back. CM Punk wasn't at WrestleCon either. So, I don't know why you guys are still trying to hold on to nostalgia and glory of a former man that, if he wanted to like meet you guys, he could have had a meet and greet at WrestleCon. He could have, maybe wrestled on the independents that were there just to show his face and give more credibility to the rest of the promotions that were there. Definitely come in and basically say that Ring of Honor is his home. Yeah, that's right. PhD says he truly showed what he thought of them. Like, does he really care? Like those are the things that I want to know. But it seems like, nobody really wants to ask him those questions and just want to be under his shadow again and blindly follow him. If he really did love professional wrestling, like he says, he could have, had his table, had his merch, meet with the fans, and then, maybe show his face in Impact. Imagine if CM Punk showed his face. Imagine CM Punk showed his face on Impact. Like that would be like great. Like he wrestled for TNA Impact before, but like to show up again and to sort of like appreciate the fact that he's able to still do this again 7 years after the fact of, WWE, being bad to him. But then again, it'll still be a WWE type of story where it's like, they were so bad to me. And it's like, bro, get over it. They moved on and stuff like that. So yeah. I just wonder if CM Punk really cares, really means this, and I just question why he wasn't like a no-show. He should have been there. It was his home. At least if he's not like wrestling, talking, or being on commentary, have him in the crowd. Have him in the crowd with the rest of the people. Experience it and stuff. But that's my question. Why CM Punk was not there? And if anybody can answer me, you guys can find me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows. And you could definitely let me know. But I know none of you are gonna let me know because none of you do that. However, again, if I talk about Jon Moxley, that's a whole nother story. And I like you guys. I like you guys better. Because at least you guys are like, what? Nah, hold up. She's talking shit about Jon Moxley. I try my best to talk shit about CM Punk, but it seems like no one really cares. But they care, but not like really, really care. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that is everything from the Ring of Honor Supercard. We still have Impact Wrestling and New Japan Lone Star to go over very quickly, and then I don't know what's gonna happen after that. I don't even know what time WrestleMania is. It's probably like at 7 for the pre-show, but we are going to take a quick little break. Again, guys, remember to tell your friends to tune in so that way they can hear me talk about all of my opinions on professional wrestling and stuff like that. But we are just going to take a mini break, so make sure you guys get get up, stretch, grab some snacks, stay hydrated. So yeah, I will see you guys in a little bit.
If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better walk that walk. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better walk that walk. Lot of wannabes, only one of me. They try to put me under pressure, put me under siege. Yeah, I'm a champ, I'm a legend, I'm a beast. Used to be the underdog, I got off the leash. I'm done barking, I only bite. Drop the roof for the night like it's only right. Hold it tight, both hands on the holy grail. Come and get it when you fail, you can hold the L. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better know how to walk that walk. Tell the arc, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Yeah, I'm ready, let's run it. If you ready, let's run it. You know I run the game. I catch you running your mouth and then you run away. I bet you see me when I'm winning, you got nothing to say. I bet a bag on it, that's a big bet, it's like 100K. Yeah, double or nothing, I know he bluffing. If he yapping, I'ma hush him, it's no discussion. Show him that I really do it and he really doesn't. If you really want it, then it's time to run it. If you're gonna talk that talk, then you better know how to walk that walk. Tell the arc, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it.
Running the game, yeah, I used to be the underdog. Exposing cats, I'm throwing everybody overboard. I say it, then I back it up just like a spinal cord. Underdog, I'm flipping the script like it's a catalog. Look at me, I'm a reflection of what you wanna be. King on the throne, none of you punks can ever humble me. Crown on my head weighs heavy like a forestry. Guess that's the price that you pay when you're royalty. Blood, sweat, and tears, so I must be possessed. I'm a god in the flesh, makes sense why I'm blessed. Got my competition stressed, killing them all, who's next? Shoot your shot, I wear a vest, so you better aim for the head. Bringing the flame, where do I aim? Cocking the bag, letting the bang. A lot of losing in the game, but it's all part of the plan. Let's run it. Real as it gets, so it's tipping 100. And if you do the same, then you know we gotta
Run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the shooters get shot down. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Everybody gunning for the top, let's run it. Go ahead, show me what you got, run it. This is where the thrones getting overthrown. This is where the hunters get hunted. Yeah, let's run it. Yeah, I'm ready, let's run it. If you ready, let's run it.
Dreaming of adventure beyond your backyard? NerdWallet can help you compare and find the smartest credit cards to get there. Use Nerd
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys had a nice stretch break. Thank you for being here and checking out the stream. Again, I am your host, Marie Shadows. You are listening to the Square Circle Podcast. This is going to be like an official podcast talking about all the wrestling that I covered. So, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor Supercard, Ring of Honor feeling like AEW 2.0, questioning why CM Punk wasn't at Ring of Honor Supercard, and does he really still care about you guys, the fans? Because he wasn't at WrestleCon either to just have a merch table and talk with fans and take pictures of them, but will still insult fans. So I don't understand that. So other than that was talking a little bit about Tay Conti's tweets, and then it was picking a unpopular opinion on Twitter and discussing that that pertains to there's a rotation in AEW. So basically, like, you should go watch Dark and Dark Evolution. Anyway, so we are going to continue on for the last two, which is Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling Lone Star, that happened all on the same day, all on April, guys. Man, so much wrestling. All right, so let's get this started with my notes, because I'm going to need my notes in order to do this right. All right, so we are going to start off with talking about the X Division match. Just so you know, Impact Multiverse of Matches. That name does not roll off the tongue. First of all, that's just so weird to have it. But I understand the concept of it, and Impact Wrestling is very good at like concept matches and like concept ideas and stuff like that. So they're really good with that. The other thing that I want to mention is that I really wasn't feeling this pay-per-view. Even like on the replay, because when I tuned in, I was up to, well, it was up to the Fatal 4-Way women's match. But overall, like this, it just didn't, it felt off. Usually I like Impact pay-per-views, but this one just felt off. There's only a key few of the matches that I really enjoy, and we're definitely gonna go over it. but the starting match was the X Division Championship match that had Jordan Grace, Blake Christian, the Finessa Chris Bay, uh, um, I should know the dude's name from Honor No More, Rich Swan and Trey Miguel. It should hold on, Vincent. He has such an easy name. He has such an easy name. So basically, the X Division Championship match opened up the show. It was really good back and forth. I like the fact that Jordan Grace is in the match, even though I am not a fan of Jordan Grace. But our winner still remains as Trey Miguel. Let me just have my notes here. The next match that we could definitely talk about is Mickey James and Nick Aldis versus Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. I will be the first to admit that I do not like anything of Chelsea Green. I really don't. She's not up to like wrestler standard in a way. Like, she's just there. Cardona has a lot more skill, and I'm glad that he's getting out there and getting championships and like doing death matches and doing things that like WWE wouldn't let him do. Mickey James and Nick Aldis needs to wrestle a lot more as a tag team to get that chemistry going, because this kind of exposed like a lot, like, you know, they don't do this at all. There's no natural chemistry there. Mickey James by herself in one-on-one matches or tag team matches with women, fantastic. Nick Aldis can be very boring in the ring, so it just didn't work out. This I didn't really care too much, but our winners were Mickey James and Nick Aldis with the double submission of the Cloverleaf. And then as we head into one-on-one, it was Alex Shelley versus Mike Bailey. This was a very interesting match, a very enjoyable match. I enjoy all of Alex Shelley's matches, and I watched him ever since, I guess, I saw him in Ring of Honor as well, because Ring of Honor was one of his home and staple, as well as Impact Wrestling, TNA, whatever you want to call it. So Alex Shelley is definitely one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Alex Shelley versus Jay White at Impact like a couple weeks ago. That was a phenomenal match to Jay White's USA of Tour match. That was a really fantastic one. So Alex Shelley fighting Mike Bailey, and this one was really good. Mike Bailey is starting to grow on me. He does a lot of things that I like. He probably has to stop doing that double knee drop that he does, because eventually he's gonna have to replace both his kneecaps. Like, the more he does it, he's gonna have like a really fatal injury. The knee pads can only protect them for so long and so much that it's not gonna end well, I for my notes I have, lots of kicks. What happened? Okay. For my notes, I have a lot of kicks from Mike Bailey, because Mike Bailey is mainly a striker. There is a Fisherman's DDT that Alex Shelley does to Mike Bailey, which was really nice. Then we have the Jumpy DDT on the apron to Bailey by Alex Shelley. Again, like I mentioned here, like I have in my notes that Mike Bailey likes to do this move where he lands where his knees crash onto you, but then sometimes the guys move and his knees are either taking damage from the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, or even like on the canvas itself. But Mike Bailey does do this amazing move where Bailey has you scouted. So like in this instance with Alex Shelley versus Mike Bailey, Shelley does a baseball slide. And Mike Bailey basically dodges it, and then right after, a split second after, does a moonsault, and Alex Shelley catches him with that. However, to my surprise, and I kept saying this, and I'll say this every single time I'm on a live stream, on my podcast, or if I'm, talking wrestling with other people, the roll-up is your best friend. The roll-up is your best friend. No one sees that coming. And so Mike Bailey gets Alex Shelley in a roll up and beats Alex Shelley 1, 2, 3. And I was surprised. I was like, whoa, Alex Shelley put over Mike Bailey. That definitely says a lot. I really enjoyed that one. That was a really good match. Our winner there is Mike Bailey. So we go on to the women's fatal 4-way. That one could have been produced a little bit more better, just a little bit better. We had The Influence, which is Tenille Dashwood and Madison Rain taking on Tasha and Savannah Evans. Tasha is our knockout women's champion. The Influence is our knockout tag team champions, just to clarify that. We had Rosemary and Havoc, and we had Lady Frost and Giselle Shaw. Frost and Giselle Shaw definitely need more chemistry work to work on their tag team if they want to continue to be a tag team. But like I said, this one here was definitely like a little weird. Just didn't flow right, didn't feel right. But our winners are The Influence. They retain the Impact tag team knockouts championships. Next after that, we had Ishii representing New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Eddie Edwards, who was part of Honor No More, but decided to represent Pro Wrestling Noah. I believe Eddie Edwards had probably some matches for Pro Wrestling Noah, but I don't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this match was okay. It was fine. It didn't feel like it was, better than most. It was just average. It was decent. You have Ishii, who's a hard hitter. Ishii can tell wonderful stories, but again, it depends on like who they put him with. In the beginning, I liked the idea of JY versus Ishii because both of them are like fantastic. Even if Ishii doesn't really have to say much on the mic, he has the ability to really tell you stories through his eyes and through his body language. JY has the ability of like top to bottom of telling stories, whether that's on the mic, body language, his I'll get into it when we come to his match. But getting back to Ishii is very good at storytelling. So is Eddie Edwards, but these two don't really know each other that well, and I'm not sure if the buildup was there. This is just a nice fantasy match. But Ishii is our winner with his patented brain buster. So yeah. Our next match was a tag match. Josh Alexander is teaming up with Jonah versus Moose and PCO. Jonah and PCO have been fighting on Impact, going back and forth, having hardcore matches, stream matches, and basically trying to see who's like the tougher guy and who's the top dog, I guess. Moose and Josh Alexander are having a personal feud. Moose basically speared Josh Alexander's wife, Jade Chang. I never really pronounced her last name. But Moose did spear her right in front of the kids and everything. So it's getting spicy now. It really is. It's getting spicy. So it's getting spicy. And they had the tag team match. Again, the tag team match was off because you have these guys that, would look good on paper and think that they could coexist. But they really weren't coexisting. And it was just one of those formula matches that, just felt off because they all have individual stories going on and stuff like that. But, Josh Alexander is determined to get Moose into the ring, and at Rebellion on April 23rd, it should be April 23rd. At Rebellion is definitely going to be Moose versus Josh Alexander. However, for this tag team match, Josh Alexander wins with the C4 spike. After this, we had Deanna's open challenge match for any of her 2 championship titles that she had on her shoulder. Earlier, she was interviewed by Gina and basically said that she finds it really stupid and ridiculous that the champ is in Impact is in Impact. The champ is there. The Ring of Honor World Women's Champion is, there. There was no reason to crown an interim champion. And I mentioned this before, but because this is going to be split up into parts, you could go listen to part 1 if you are listening to part 2. And Deanna did not care if Mercedes Martinez decided to walk into Impact Wrestling and decided to challenge her for the Ring of Honor Women's Champion and like sort of combined it right there and then. It would have been nice if that would have happened. However, Willow did sort of like probably tiny bit injured, which is not confirmed, but maybe tiny bit, bruised Mercedes Martinez. Regardless, Deanna knows that she is the champ no matter what. And so we had Fabi Apache come and basically accept the open challenge match. This match was okay. It was nice to have as a challenge holder. You get to meet a new face, so that was really good. Unfortunately, Fabi did not win, and Deanna won with her armbar. And then we have Talia Valkyrie coming out and challenging Deanna to her championship title of the AAA title, and that's going to happen at Rebellion. Now we get to one of my favorite matches on the card. Chris Sabin taking on Jay White. I do not think this was for an open challenge, but either way, it was like it was really nice. I really enjoyed it, even though I enjoyed Jay White versus Alex Shelley because that was really hard hitting. I will say that for Chris Sabin versus Jay White, I was definitely surprised at the outcome. All right, so I'm going to spoil the outcome and then I'm going to work my way back towards really breaking down this match. Jay White loses this match. Chris Sabin gives Jay White King Switchblade, the supposed leader of the Bullet Club. Yes, I'm just gonna go with it. The betrayal is still there, but I do always have to, somewhat be unbiased as an analyst talking about professional wrestling and talking about Jay White. Jay White is still good in the ring no matter what. Okay. But the supposed leader of the Bullet Club. So Chris Sabin has given Jay White his first loss in Impact Wrestling. That is huge because, for the longest, if we want to talk about the Motor City Machine Guns, as much as I love Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley is definitely, just a little bit more better than Chris Sabin, but Chris Sabin has definitely come back into his own and, basically owned his freaking ability that he had for the past 20 years. Okay. It's been awesome. To see Chris Sabin come back and Chris Sabin be this amazing wrestler that he's always been. I'm glad that he had got this confidence. I'm glad that he is able to, do what he does, right? So basically the match was great. Jay White and Chris Sabin going back and forth on chopping each other. The only thing is that looking back on it, because I watched it on April 1st, right? And then today I decided to go back and rewatch the whole thing so I could have notes for you guys and talk about the matches. I noticed that Jay basically was playing with Chris Sabin. Jay does not take Chris Sabin seriously like the way that Jay White takes what do you call it? Alex Shelley seriously. So yeah. And you can see this where like, Jay is like chopping him. There's this sort of like cockiness to him, and Jay gets like this when he overestimates the underdog in a way. He knows how great Alex Shelley is. He knows that Saban is great too, but like, he's no Jay White. He's not on the same level as Jay White. Alex Shelley is on the same level as Jay White. And Alex Shelley proved that even though Alex Shelley lost. It's the same way whenever Jay White plays around with David Finley. It's the same way. Same way. Anyway, I was not expecting Chris Sabin to basically counter the Blade Runner with a roll up and get the 1, 2, 3. And when I was talking about before of Ishii versus Eddie Edwards, and Ishii has a very great storytelling ability with his body language and his eyes, Jay White has that too. Jay White automatically had that look of what the fuck just happened. Are you telling me I lost? This is not real. This is not how it's supposed to happen. And that's what, Jay White is good at too. That whole facial storytelling aspect of, him feeling the emotions and stuff like that. So after the match, Steve Macklin comes out, and Steve Macklin starts, beating up Chris Sabin. And after that, let me just switch this. After that, Jay White comes back in and like pulls off Steve Macklin to get some shots in on Chris Sabin, and then there is a stare off between Macklin and Jay White. Jay White wants nothing to do with it. As soon as Macklin turns around to go somewhere else to like turn his attention back to Chris Sabin, Jay White does a low blow, but that really doesn't affect Steve Macklin, and like Jay runs for the hills. And it's like, wow, interesting. And that was the end of that match. Okay, so what happens after that? Oh, and then we get to the oh yeah, by the way, I think that low blow that Jay White does to Steve Macklin is probably gonna set up it's probably going to set up Steve Macklin versus Jay White, which I totally want. I don't really mind, Jay White is one hell of a wrestler, and I will still watch his matches. I will still comment on his matches, despite him betraying Tama, So we finally get to the main event, which is the Good Brothers versus the Briscoes. The Briscoes literally just had a really hard fought match against FTR at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. And now they went to the Impact Zone, I guess, to fight the Good Brothers. There was no championship titles on the line. It was just a really nice fantasy matchup. And I really think we need a part 2 just because, the Good Brothers were well rested while the Briscoes had to do double duty. I enjoyed the match, even though I'm not too big on the Good Brothers at all. So I rooted for the Briscoes. The Briscoes put up one hell of a fight. It is true that during the match, the Good Brothers were very calm and collective. They weren't frantic or urgent about, the tag team match. They basically felt like it was in, their reach. And it kind of was. It kind of was. You want to know why? Because we had interference. We had Bullet Club tactics. And everybody knows when Bullet Club tactics happen, that is when they have the number game. That's when they have the advantage. That's basically their, their playground. They are most dangerous. They are the most dangerous when it comes to Bullet Club tactics. And this is why I say that Tama should know how to dissect every single one of them, except for maybe like Evil and Show. Those are the only 2 exceptions. But everyone else on Bullet Club, Tama should definitely know how to unravel each and every one of their weaknesses, because he knows this. It was like he's practically born in Bullet Club tactics. So, Tama got this. I believe in Tama. Anyway, um, it is Mark Briscoe going up to the top rope, ready to do a top rope move onto the Good Brothers. However, Jay White comes out and Jay White pushes Mark off of the top rope. And then that is when the Good Brothers go and hit the Magic Killer on either Mark or Jay Briscoe, get the 1, 2, 3, and then you see the Good Brothers leave with Jay White and Chris Bay up the ramp. So I'm guessing we didn't even see where Chris Bay came out from. Chris Bay probably went to go distract the referee, and thus Jay White did that. And I was just like, yo, are we really going to have the Briscoes versus Jay White and Chris Bay? Like, I really want that, man. I need like all these fantasy matches to happen. Just because like, it's fantastic. Jay White and Chris Bay versus the Briscoes. Jay White versus John Moxley. I'll get to that in a moment because we're going to be switching over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Lone Star. The Briscoes, I need the Briscoes in New Japan Pro Wrestling in World Tag League and just dominate the tag division for a little bit. I need to see GOD versus the Briscoes. I need to see the Briscoes just, have wonderful matches with like everybody on before they decide to really just call it quits, yeah, I really enjoyed certain matches when it came to Impact Wrestling, multiverse of the matches. I get the gimmick behind it, but then again, like, that's everything for Impact multiverse of the matches. And now we get to New Japan Pro Wrestling. All right, so we're going to be talking about um okay. So in my notes, see, I'm always prepared. Always prepared. Always prepared. Um Now, there is something interesting I must mention, right? Because I am not sure what happened to the match that they announced that it was a tag team match of Hikuleo and Chris Bay, and they named them in the graphic Bullet Club taking on the Stray Dogs. That was not in this event for some reason, and I realized that after the fact when I was getting all of my graphics together and having something on here so that when I'm talking about it, you guys can have something to watch. For everyone that's listening to this on audio, I'm trying my best to really be as descriptive as I can. So yeah, again, yeah, if you guys are listening to this on audio, just make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/Marie_shadows so that way you can watch me live and you can support me like that. Anyway, so yeah, there was one match that was not on this card, and I think there was a couple other ones too, but for some reason we got Ren Narita versus Rocky, Carl Fredericks, Yuya, Clark Connors, Mascara taking on David Finlay, Juice Robinson, Daniel Garcia, and Kevin Knight. And then we had Killer Cross versus Suzuki. John Moxley comes out and interrupts Jay White, and then we have Jay White versus Mike Bailey for the open invitation, the open challenge match, and then we had rounding it off as Ishii versus Chris Dickinson. But there was no tag match, and I'm like, hey, I wanted to talk about Hikuleo. I wanted to, get, probably add some more onto the Bullet Club story and God story and see where he stands, because obviously, I get that he still wants to be part of Bullet Club, but eventually he's gonna have to make a decision. And I think when we come to New Japan Pro Wrestling Mutiny, April 10th, that Jay White is gonna make that decision for Hikuleo. I know that, it felt like when they were meeting and talking in the ring, it just felt like Jay Lethal, oh my God. Did I say Jay Lethal before I said Jay White, right? I'm thinking of so many things at once that I'm tripping over my fucking words. Anyway, yeah, it just felt like because of the way that Hikuleo answered by sort of challenging Jay White of like, yeah, you call me the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but why can I not be that future right now? Like, why do I have to still be, excuse me, behind you or in your shadow or something like that? So, I think that when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling Mutiny, April 10th, Jay White is definitely going to make the decision for Hikuleo at that open challenge match, because Hikuleo definitely accepted that. So yeah, let's get right into these matches. You guys know I enjoy New Japan Pro Wrestling, I enjoy Impact Wrestling, and then AEW, I always have something to say and I always have something to fix when it comes to AEW. So here we go. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling Lone Star that happened yesterday in Dallas for WrestleCon, which was a nice treat. So we're going to start with Ren Narita versus Rocky Romero. And this was an interesting matchup because Ren Narita has definitely improved. Man, obviously he's no longer a young lion. He did graduate. And I still think that he is Shibata's long lost son, or like the son of a a one night stand. I really do think that Ren Narita is like, the long lost son of Shibata. Just because they look the same, they feel the same. All right, don't take that the wrong way when I said that they feel the same. Basically, if I'm watching Ren Narita in the ring, and then like Shibata is like, hey, I want a wrestling match too, and like they have a very similar style. Ren Narita definitely adapted well to Shibata and all the training, and then just elevated himself. And this match with Rocky, like, man, Ren Narita is gonna be such a monster in like years to come, man. He's gonna be so good that I'm not sure if anyone is gonna be able to beat him, or anyone is gonna think like maybe 3 steps ahead of him, and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't really know. But Ren Narita definitely, excuse me. Ren Narita has definitely been my favorite ever since. And I know that this guy is going to be fucking great in his career. So he took on Rocky Romero. Rocky Romero really did, didn't really too much challenge him, but Rocky put up one hell of a good fight. And commentators were definitely like, this is like teacher versus student, because I don't think that Shibata is the only one training these guys, but Rocky is training them in like psychology and doing this and doing that. What I really liked in the match and what I have in my notes is that Rocky countered Ren Narita's jumping kick. And when he caught the kick, he automatically turned it into a single leg Boston Crab. You know, always in New Japan Pro Wrestling, when you're fighting young lions, they are taught the basics of the basics. And, you know, the Boston Crab is one of those. However, Ren Narita goes over to the ropes, get a rope break, and that causes Rocky to release the hold. And they go back and forth for a couple more like minutes with like some chops, some kicks, trying to one up each other and stuff until we get this amazing belly to back suplex bridge pin combination that I was just like, yo, this is fantastic. It is super amazing and it's one of my favorite things to watch. I never saw this ever in wrestling. And this is why, you know, you guys need to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, because there's a lot of guys doing innovative stuff, and while yes, there are guys on the indies doing innovative stuff as well, but you know, New Japan is what I watch more. New Japan is more accessible to me than the more stuff on the indies. Um but he does this really amazing thing. Let me see if I could just play around with this for a second. Um oh. Um Let me see. Um what did I do? Oh yeah, and by the way, if you are a first time viewer, welcome. I am Marie Shadows of the Square Circle Podcast, and you're just hearing me talk about and review all the wrestling that I watched yesterday. So meaning and New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor Supercard, and Impact Wrestling. And if you guys want to, you know, drop your opinions and say hi in the chat, go ahead and do so. I will read them on stream and, you know, go through them, have a conversation with you, because you know you guys are amazing. Without you guys, you know, I wouldn't be doing this. Give me a second while I bring up specific footage that I really want to show you guys. Now I gotta remember where the hell it is. Is it in here? I have no idea what's what. Let me see something. What is today? Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it either. Um, Today is 4/2, so I think it's this one. Can I not show it to you guys because it's not in the right format? I could. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. Um, Give me a second, guys. Okay, I got it. Give me a second here. Let me close this down. Let me do no. Nope. That's not it either. It's not. Does this not pick it up? Wow. Okay, so this doesn't. I somehow like to try like new things. Um, but it's not letting me do this. If I do mini views, it's gonna do that. Wow, it doesn't even pick that up, which is weird. Maybe- This is so weird. Hmm. All right. Man, I would have to. Oh, great. It took it out. Nope. If it froze, I'm so sorry. All right. So great. Yeah, if you guys are still able to hear my voice, my OBS froze. So I'm gonna have to wait. And I'm just gonna continue on with my review. Okay, so wait, unless I could try one more time. I don't know why it's not showing on my end. Let me see if I can put it on one of the other ones. Oh, is that the only way that it's going to be able to play? All right, so I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, so hold on. Oh, I recorded something because I was going to use it for something else, and I was looking for the file to play. Now I understand how it's going to play. It's just that. Let me see. It's not okay. So hold on.
Now could be looking for that again.
Walking it up, taking a no. Oh, brother.
Smack upside the face.
See, I'm talking about that bridge pin combination where he does that. Okay. Let's go back to that. Because technically I'm supposed to be pretty safe with, you know, the stuff I show about New Japan. But yeah, that bridge pin combination, that belly to back combination, basically like that's what I love. That was like super good, super innovative and stuff. I know it was like super quick, so apologies for taking long to get it. But you know, I didn't cut it up to where it could look smooth and whatnot. So let's continue. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our 8-man tag, which is Carl Fredericks teaming with Yuya, teaming with Clark Connors, and teaming with Mascara. And I totally forgot like the last name that he has. Taking on David Finlay, it's Juice Robinson. Together, David Finlay and Juice Robinson make up Finn Juice. Taking on Daniel Garcia and Kevin Knight. I'm gonna be the first to admit that I do not like Daniel Garcia. I don't know what you guys see in him. You know, I thought he was supposed to be a sports entertainer. Why the fuck is he at New Japan Pro Wrestling? You know, he tried to come after me for an opinion and try to ratio me when I told him basically like you know, I have 5K downloads for my podcast. Like I'm doing pretty well, and while he's still in 2.0 and now he's in like Jericho Society or whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, bro, I don't believe you as a professional wrestler. I don't understand why after one fucking hit you want to get super excited and, you know, get all amped up and shit. Like I don't get Daniel Garcia. You guys hype him up way too much when he hasn't shown shit. He really hasn't shown anything. So stop hyping him up. And then everyone else that hypes him up are like still in high school with that high school mentality of like, you got ratioed, ha ha ha. Like, grow up. Work on your fucking craft, then come after me. Or come after somebody else, or like, you know, stand your ground. Don't go after someone when you haven't really accomplished shit in the business. That's why I was like, yo, David Finlay could teach him a couple things or two. Even Juice Robinson could teach him a couple things or two. I just don't want, you know, Daniel Garcia to like be around without putting the work in, because it doesn't look like he puts in a lot of work. So in this match, Yuya is like taking a lot of punishment for like no reason. He's taking a lot of punishment from Finn Juice. Finally, Yuya is able to do a suplex to create some type of, you know, space between everybody, because, you know, he's taking most of the brunt of it. You know, Clark Connors comes in with his hot tag, starts cleaning house, starts, you know, basically beating the shit out of everybody. He does wonderful shoulder blocks to Finn Juice that are like both in the corners, and then Finn Juice tries to double team Clark Connors, but Clark Connors sort of like does a misdirection and then comes in with his own shoulder tackle. Thus, that's why he is nicknamed the White Rhino. Now we finally get Carl Fredericks and Kevin Knight coming in, doing some forearm exchanges. Kevin Knight really does have a wonderful drop kick that he ends up doing to Carl Fredericks. Now we get to the part in the match where everyone, like, you know, hits their moves, whether it's a springboard, whether it's something simple or whatever, they do that. However, our attentions turn towards the two legal men in the match, which is Carl Fredericks and Kevin Knight. And Carl Fredericks does the Manifest Destiny to Kevin Knight, picks up the 1, 2, 3 for his team. When I was like, yes, awesome. I really don't want Daniel Garcia picking up the victory. When I feel that he has not put in enough work to walk around with a fucking chip on his shoulder. Now we get to Killer Cross versus Suzuki. As you know, Killer Cross is no longer with WWE, and His wife Scarlett is no longer with WWE as well. So basically, why would you want to call out Minoru Suzuki, who is our current Ring of Honor television champion? But this event of New Japan Pro Wrestling Lone Star happened before Ring of Honor Supercard. Ooh, excuse me. Again. So, why would you want to call out Suzuki, knowing that Suzuki can kill you? Knowing that, you know, asking to fight Suzuki is damn near career suicide. Because Suzuki is that much of a monster, that much of a presence. You know that this guy definitely loves a fight, and if you're not gonna be on the same level and standard as Minoru Suzuki, then what is the fucking point? Don't even look his way. Don't even challenge him if you're not gonna be on the same level as him. Killer Cross is trying to find himself. He's trying to redefine himself, and I'm like, bro, you are not as creative as you think you are. You're creating vignettes that, you know, feel very like what everyone else is doing. There's nothing unique about Killer Cross anymore, unless like he brings in his wife. His wife is super hot. He has like the smoke, and like, you know, they have the whole get up where it's like, yes, I could probably get behind you, but I get behind you because your wife is hot. I don't get behind you because now you look like every other wrestler, and you know, what is there that separates you from them? You know, there's really nothing except that you look like an ordinary guy coming out in black trunks, knee pads, wrestling shoes and shit, and nothing else. What else is there other than that you grew out your hair? Other than that, like, you know, Suzuki was working Killer Cross's arm so that way he could set up for like the arm bar and stuff. But Suzuki can, like, you know, destroy you from whichever way possible. And halfway through the match, Suzuki calls Killer Cross a young boy. If Minoru Suzuki has to call you a young boy halfway through the match, you have not lived up to his standard of wrestling. And that is bad, because this match was really poor. Like I said earlier when talking about the Ring of Honor Supercard, it's basically like, you know, Americans do not know how to fight Minoru Suzuki. New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers and the foreigners that go through the dojo system know how to fight Minoru Suzuki and know what to give him and what to expect. American wrestlers don't really know that, you know. You can see the difference. You can see the difference in wrestling ability for that. So this was a very quick, what the fuck kind of match, a throwaway match. Thanks for coming, Killer Cross, but you should have never called out Suzuki as your first opponent, as your debut match, because you know that shit was going to end badly. Suzuki picks up the victory in this match. Now, we could get to the little Twitter drama that I had earlier, because it's fun to sort of like have certain tweets where I know it's fantasy booking and I know that it's like tongue in cheek. It's not meant to be taken seriously. So if any of the people that were going back and forth with me a little bit about Jon Moxley that are here watching this, welcome. Welcome to the Square Circle Podcast. So on Twitter, I basically said that, you know what? I probably should read the tweet that I have. Actually, no. Not this again. So I said on Twitter, which you guys can go follow me at Maria_Shadows. I said, so Jon Moxley interrupts and holds up the Jay White US of Tour, which is his open challenge, match during New Japan Pro Wrestling's Lone Star. This is going to set up Jon Moxley versus Jay White in the future, right? The disrespect. Then I hashtag New Japan Pro Wrestling, hashtag New Japan Strong. I then go on to say, when that happens, Jay White better win, the same as Ospreay winning against Jon Moxley, right? And I had an influx of people come in, tell me some stuff, which was awesome. You know, I really do appreciate the Jon Moxley fans. At least they come to their boy and like defend their boy. If I talk about CM Punk, nobody comes and defends their fucking boy. When they say, yeah, I'm a CM Punk fan, they don't fucking come and defend him when I say some shit. Every single person has been quiet. Except for the host of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. Me and him had a wonderful debate, and I explained my reasoning why I am no longer a CM Punk fan. When this goes up in the description, you guys will be able to check out that interview that I did with him. It was fucking fantastic. But me and him talked about, you know, why I'm no longer a CM Punk fan when he is a diehard CM Punk fan, and he understood my position for it. But again, I want to give a shout out to everybody that decided to comment on that tweet about Jon Moxley and defend him. So if I ever say something tongue in cheek about it, you know, about Jon Moxley, you know, come in and like, you know, just entertain me. We'll entertain each other. So basically, hear me out, guys. To me, Jon Moxley or Dean Ambrose, whichever one you want to call him, whatever you feel comfortable as, like how you know him. I've always said this on my live streams and on my audio podcasts and everywhere else. Jon Moxley is a hit or miss for me. That doesn't mean that he's bad all the way or good all the way. I'm basically indifferent about Jon Moxley. His character in WWE never really stuck out to me for me to be like, oh my god, I'm a fan. The same way when he became Jon Moxley, oh my god, I'm a fan. There are certain things that he does where I'm like, okay, I agree with you. I want to support you. Awesome. I'll cheer for you here and there. But then other times I'm just like, no, man, I just can't, you know, do this. I don't understand. Like, why are we having this and stuff? Like, there's certain things that just don't make sense. And I think that he picks and chooses when to show his passion. That can come off sort of like cheesy, but I understand his passion because I'm the same way. I always tell you guys that I love professional wrestling no matter what. Like, I love what I do, and I should really be cheering that. However, when you are in a professional setting, just try to be a little bit more professional. That's all it is. I'm not saying to like be a complete mark where you just don't acknowledge the fact that you have this passion, but pick and choose when you want to, you know, show your passion, talk about your passion, and then, you know, change up your wrestling style and shit like that. You know, when he went over to GCW and won the GCW belt, does some you know, death matches, I really, you know, didn't care about that. GCW is not my thing. It's not my thing to watch. So if anybody ever wanted to hear something about, you know, GCW, you guys are not going to do it. Well, you guys are not going to hear it basically, because I'm not going to talk about it. But if it includes something like Jon Moxley, like very briefly, I'll mention it, but you guys are not going to get reviews of GCW at all, or even reviews about Joey Janela's spring break. So don't wait for that. But yeah, Jon Moxley is basically a hit or miss for me. However, in this situation where Jon Moxley comes out, he was not scheduled to be at New Japan Pro Wrestling or even to be at the event, but he decided, yo, what up, Greg? What up, Greg? How are you doing, sir? Hey, change name later. Thank you for being a first-time viewer, probably, and a first time in the chat. Welcome to the Square Circle Podcast. So change name later says, I prefer Mox stuff in New Japan and Bloodsport over his AEW stuff. I feel like he leans too much. I feel like he leans too much into his hardcore persona in AEW. Yeah, I could totally see that change name later, where like it's a balance that Jon Moxley needs to finally fucking figure out, because I need to follow him for, how can I say this? Like, I guess I could say I want to follow him for him, right? But I also want to be like, what can I attach myself to him? Normally, I love like guys and women who are badass people, who they walk the walk, they talk the talk, and like I should support that. But sometimes when it comes to Jon Moxley, I'm just like, bro, like I don't know when to do it. Like, you know, there's some things that you don't really care about versus like other things that you really care about. You want to go kick that person's ass, but then like the tiny little thing over here, you're like, I don't really care. Like I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to attach myself to Jon Moxley for me to be a Jon Moxley fan. And maybe somebody out there can really tell me like why they enjoy Jon Moxley, and I'll sit there and listen because I want to know. I want to, you know, gain a different perspective as to like why you like Jon Moxley, you know, that type of thing. The same way that I had the conversation with the pro wrestling podcast of explaining to him why I no longer like CM Punk, and you know, we agree on like a good amount of stuff. But that conversation wasn't about like, you know, take my side. If we ever have a conversation with other people about like, you know, why you like Jon Moxley, you know, then I will probably understand. Which, by the way, I probably should do that as a Twitter space. If you guys, you know about Twitter spaces, let me know if that would be a good idea. Asking fans why they like Jon Moxley, and they will, you know, tell me. I should probably do that one day. That would be great. So Greg over here says that he is great. He's exhausted from all the WrestleCon and collective content, but loving every minute of it too. Yeah. I managed to watch as much wrestling as I can. I know right after this, I'm switching over to WrestleMania. We will not be doing a WrestleMania watch along. Maybe one day we'll be able to do it, but we're not doing that today. My voice is about to go as I am nearing like 3 hours and 30 minutes of talking about professional wrestling. But yeah, like, you know, so Jon Moxley comes out, like I said, on the New Japan event. He does not have a match. He basically says that he misses the New Japan ring. He misses wrestling in there. And then he brings up Will Ospreay. And, you know, he mentions that when people like talk shit, he might end up showing up at the door. And I'm like, yo, go do it. Yeah, Vortex, time has definitely flown by. So basically, you know, he's like, I could probably show up at someone's door and like, you know, kick their teeth down their throat. So he was there to promote the match that's going to happen in Chicago. Windy City Riot. It's going to be Jon Moxley versus Will Ospreay. And because, you know, I just don't get Jon Moxley or like Jon Moxley like everyone else, I basically said that, you know, Jon Moxley interrupting Jay White. Jay White doesn't like to be interrupted, and Jay White doesn't like his time to be messed with. You know, like, for example, this whole thing just kind of like, you know, set back Jay White a little bit longer because it's supposed to be like, you got to be on time, right? So Jay White is holed up, and I was like, yo, this could lead to Jon Moxley versus Jay White, because they had that little, what they didn't, but Jay White has the victory over Jon Moxley from back in the G1. And then also when like Renee went on Twitter and was like, hey, what do you want me to ask Jon Moxley? I think that's how it went. And then Jay White is like, yo, ask your husband how it feels to, you know, be a loser to Jay White. So, you know, tongue in cheek, that was just like, yo, this is going to set up for Jon Moxley versus Jay White, right? And, you know, of course, one person has to take it seriously. And I'm like, yo, it's just me fantasy booking and me reminding people that there were shots that happened on Twitter. Because I try to remember almost everything on Twitter and just try to give you guys like some really fun shit. Other than that, I was like, yo, Ospreay better win against Mox too. Because I don't really see a reason why Ospreay should lose against Mox, unless someone in the chat wants to tell me why Ospreay should lose to Jon Moxley. Yeah, if anybody out there really wants to tell me why Ospreay should lose to Jon Moxley, let me know now. Because I already feel my voice. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. For that little drama on Twitter. But I will say, shout out to everybody that decided to put their 2 cents in. The next time I talk about Jon Moxley, just put your fucking 2 cents in. Because it seems like I get more of a response just taking little stupid cheap shots and fantasy booking towards Jon Moxley that works. And then if I do it with CM Punk, no one fucking cares. Which explains, well, actually, no, I can't. Okay, you know what? Which explains a lot. I'll say that. I'll say that. All right, let's keep going. Next, after Jon Moxley leaves, the wrestling ring, we have the US of J Tour, Jay White versus Mike Bailey. Oh, okay, cool. So Greg actually gave me an answer. Greg says, by the way, the question was, do you guys think that Will Ospreay should lose to Jon Moxley? And that should be a no automatically. I should probably put up a poll. I should probably put up a poll on Twitter if you guys are not following me at Maria_Shadows. All right, so let me go back and read these comments. So Greg says, oh, and by the way, if you guys want to follow Greg, follow him at on Twitter, which should be Ultra Sports Talk. Here on Twitter, he has ULTSPORTSTLK. Yeah, if you guys want to go and support him, go support him over there. He watches wrestling, and he's a huge wrestling fan. All right, so Greg says, I don't think he should lose to Mox, meaning Ospreay, but it should be an incredible match, and I'm hoping it actually sets up Omega versus Ospreay. Ospreay just tied Omega with 5-star plus matches. Let's see who's the best. Yeah, I can see that too. I think I wouldn't mind seeing an Kenny Omega versus Ospreay. It'll be different because they'll be in the heavyweight division class now. Change name later says, I'd have zero issues with Mox losing to Ospreay or Jay. The only reason I see him winning is if New Japan wants to continue making Mox look strong for some reason. Absolutely true. Yep, I could agree with that. Yeah, very good points from the both of you guys. So yeah, getting to Jay White versus Mike Bailey. This was a really good match. Jay White has been, Jay White always has fantastic matches, and despite the betrayal, the kicking out of God out of Bullet Club, and everything in between, I still have to talk about Jay White matches. I still have to keep you guys up to date on the whole Bullet Club and God drama, as well as Hikuleo situation and stuff like that. So I try my best, and of course I'm going to be talking about Jay White. I still have to be somewhat unbiased as a wrestling analyst to give you guys, the breakdown of all this stuff. So, at first, Mike Bailey was using his speed to his advantage, and Jay White is pretty fast. However, Jay White doesn't like to wrestle your kind of match. Jay White likes to wrestle his kind of match, which is slowing down the pace, manipulating everything, and telling the story that he wants to tell. And he does it beautifully, and he does allow you to get some more ring time in and all that kind of stuff. So, in order to slow down Mike Bailey, Jay White decided to do this neck breaker, throw across the ring rope that allowed Mike Bailey to go out to the outside. That completely changed the momentum of the whole entire match, where Jay White was in control of the match. That's his way of slowing it down, because Mike Bailey is super fast. Then Mike Bailey gets some offense in by doing a corkscrew moonsault to Jay White. And then there's this beautiful sequence where Jay White goes for a baseball slide, slides out into the ring. Now he's on the outside. Split second right after that, Mike Bailey is hopping onto the second rope and doing a moonsault. And luckily, Jay White catches Mike Bailey. Sometimes Jay White doesn't really fully catch opponents, but he makes the best out of it. But when Mike Bailey does that sequence with the wrestlers, it's super amazing. I fucking love it. Then, okay, yeah, so that was right. Then, like I was saying earlier with Mike Bailey matches, he has this move where he does a moonsault, and instead of doing a double stomp to your chest like how you're normally supposed to do, he does a double knees. So this time he crashes onto the ring apron, and this is where This is where Jay White takes advantage of this, because like once your knees are like fucking done, like Jay takes advantage of it like a fucking wolf that smells blood, right? Jay goes for Uranagi, goes for a cover, Bailey kicks out. And so Jay White continues to work on Mike Bailey's knees by doing a dragon screw and then tying up Mike Bailey's legs into the TTO, which is the Tanahashi tap out that he created in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that move helped Jay White win, I think, the Intercontinental Championship title at the time that Tanahashi had it, if it was for a match. Apologies if you hear kids screaming, they're playing in the hallway. Apologies, because that scream was really, really loud. And being in an apartment building, walls are pretty like thin. But yeah, Jay White puts the TTO onto Mike Bailey, but Mike Bailey uses his upper body strength to get to the ropes, cause a rope break, and Jay White has to release the hold. This time around, Jay White, oh no, hold on, I was gonna say it wrong. This time around, Mike Bailey does the double knees to Jay White and lands it perfectly. So Jay White feels that. Jay White is very vulnerable in one of the spots, and Mike Bailey does a buzzsaw kick to Jay White and quickly goes for the cover. Jay White kicks out. Again, Mike Bailey relies too much on his striking and kicking ability, and this is why sometimes not every one of his matches, comes out to the outcome that he wants it to be. And he missed the double knees, and this allows Jay White to do a dragon sleeper, which, by the way, for some reason on Impact, they call it the half and half. Guys, it's called the dragon sleeper that Jay White does. Please, like, call it what it is. It's the dragon sleeper. Jay White does the dragon sleeper onto Mike Bailey and then pulls him up with that wrist control that we all love and does the Blade Runner, and 1, 2, 3. Mike Bailey loses to Jay White in this US of J tour. And like I said earlier, heading to New Japan Pro Wrestling Mutiny, April 10th, sorry. It is definitely going to be Hikuleo versus Jay White. And like I said, I personally think that this is going to be Hikuleo getting removed out of Bullet Club. Because if Jay doesn't really like people questioning him, if you haven't noticed. So because Hikuleo questioned Jay White and also sort of mentioned that like he wants to be part of Bullet Club, but he wants nothing to do with Jay White, and that if Hikuleo feels that he's the future, why is he not the future right now? You know, why does he still have to take commands or like, stuff from Jay White? And if you start questioning Jay White, he's gonna kick you out. Like, it's apparent. It really is. Now, on commentary for this event, for Lone Star, Kevin Kelly dropped some nice fucking gems. Man, I was like, yo, like this story is gonna get picked up, bro. Like, oh my god, it makes me happy inside knowing that I could get lost in this story, and this is like the best fucking shit ever, right? I could get lost in this. So on commentary, Kevin Kelly says, King Switch is coming home. King Switch will be looking for all the prizes around the world. Yo, what the fuck does that mean? Like, is Jay White going to be the Forbidden Door person that goes everywhere? Imagine Jay White winning a fucking title for Mexico, or winning a title for somewhere else. Actually going to Japan and facing fucking Tama, and giving us story. Even though Jay White has apparently moved on from kicking Tama and Loa out. Not so much Jado. That wasn't like his doing. That was more like Gato's doing. But more story, so that way we can stop hearing Bullet Club in their backstage comments over in New Japan Pro Wrestling say garbage and trash and give me synonyms of that shit. Like, come on, give me story. on Twitter, their Twitter battles are a lot more interesting, with a lot more gems than their fucking backstage comments. Like, give me something like live so I can like show you guys too on the process. But that makes me happy to know that Kane Switch is coming home. I like inside I marked out because I was like, yes, I finally get to see Jay on New Japan Pro Wrestling. I get to see Jay be a coward. I get to see Jay like be in Jay White mode, in like Switchblade mode. I'm still gonna be on the side of Tama because wherever Tama goes, I go. Wherever Tama's Island goes, I go too, because that dude is super awesome. Not to say that Jay White is not awesome either, but yeah, I go where people treat me right. And I don't really like to trust people that can stab you in the back in an instance without a warning or anything, without talking to you first. So I'd rather stick with Tama and T and Jado. That seems like my best bet, along with Tanahashi. Who doesn't want to hang out with Tanahashi, right? Like, who doesn't? One day I want to hang out with Tanahashi. I want to go eat burgers and I want to get our hair done, which sounds like a very girl thing to do in a way. But I want to get my hair done with him because he has amazing fucking hairstyles. Anyway, let me like bring this back in. The fact that Kevin Kelly said King Switch and not Jay White says a lot. Or I might just be reading too much into it. I think I'm reading too much into it because I don't have a follow-up as to why he could have said that. But, Kevin rarely like says, hey, PhD bound. She says the pay-per-view is called Mutiny, Rebellion Against Power. Wouldn't it be surprised if they turn on Jay? Yo, I was thinking about that too. In my other live streams, I was like, yo, imagine if, Hikuleo gets the victory over Jay White. But, Jay always has like a plan B. And I think that Chris Bay is probably going to help out. And that's how Hikuleo is probably going to get kicked out. But yeah, like imagine if they did turn on Jay. Because I was like, yo, you siding with the Good Brothers, they're only writing your fucking name, Jay. Like they're writing your name. Like you never let other wrestlers ride the Jay White Switchblade name or the King Switch Jay White name. Like no one has ever written, I guess I could say that, written like his coattails, his legacy. So this is why it kind of bothers me. It kind of bothers me that he will side with the Good Brothers, even though it's a business decision. Like, why would you do that? The Good Brothers have always, piggyback off of other shit, and then they fail when they get called out, or like when people realize, yo, they're not as good as they seem they are, But Jay White is like A+, above A+, I'm fangirling at this point, but like the idea of Jay siding with the Good Brothers, and I know he always watches his back and stuff, but you never know. Mutiny is coming up. It could go either way, and I'm really excited for that match. I really am. And as you know, we are definitely going to talk about it, and I'm definitely going to try my best to bring you guys all the kayfabe news. Do not expect any behind the scenes like nuggets or anything like that. Like, I am not a fucking dirt sheet person. I am not a wrestling journalist. I'm basically a wrestling analyst where I tell you in kayfabe what is going on for you to be as excited as I am about professional wrestling, about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So basically, we're going to talk about this in kayfabe. I'm not going to reveal anything from any of my sources, any people that I talk about. No, it's going to be all kayfabe. And yes, PhD Bound says that Kevin is great at storytelling. He dropped knowledge and nuggets. Yo, he's always doing something great. I fucking love Kevin Kelly. He did a great thing by saying King Switch is coming home. King Switch will be looking for all the prizes around the world, man. Like, that is fucking fantastic. All right, I could go on and on about like Jay White, Bullet Club, GOD, Tama, Loa, Jado, all of them, because they are doing fantastic work in professional wrestling. Now let's get to the main event, which is Ishii versus Chris Dickinson, and this will be the last thing that I talk about before I go and watch WrestleMania. This is definitely a wrestling match. It was back and forth. I was gonna say congratulations, but thankfully, Chris Dickinson healed up very nicely. He was out of action. He got an injury in the ring. I totally forgot what it was, but yeah, this is just a wrestling match back and forth. Ishii is that stone pit bull, and it was two very hard-hitting fighters going back. Our winner is Ishii with his patented brainbuster, but nothing to be taken away from Chris Dickinson. He always puts in 110% into all of his matches. But yeah, that is everything that I'm going to cover. I don't know if I'm going to come back tomorrow to talk about WrestleMania. Maybe. I don't know. Stay tuned to my socials. That's about it. My throat is killing me. All right. I'm going to end this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you being here and listening to me talk about professional wrestling for like close to 4 hours. My throat is about to go. It is WrestleMania season, and I hope you guys had a wonderful time being here on the Square Circle podcast, listening to me to talk about Tay Conti and her tweets, a very unpopular opinion that someone gave about AEW Dark and why we should be watching it, and then switching over to Ring of Honor Supercard and going down the card, breaking it down and asking questions that the wrestling media should be asking Tony Khan. I don't understand why they're not fucking asking him. Like, if you want to have a conversation with him, that's fine. Just ask him the hard questions. And if they deny you access to cover the event, you got other wrestling things to cover, but please don't be a poser. Real people like me who have a real passion and wear their passion on their sleeve can definitely smell out posers. Prime example is Machine Gun Kelly. He's a fucking poser in the pop punk community. And then, of course, we have the copy and paste brigade over in the internet wrestling community, and probably like one person there specifically is a poser. So anyway, we could smell you guys out. Just remain to be true, friendly, and make sure to help other people in the community. That's all. Anyway. So I appreciate you guys being here and listening to me talk about professional wrestling. So after Ring of Honor, I did question why CM Punk wasn't at Ring of Honor, his supposed home. He's supposed to love professional wrestling, but guess what? He wasn't there and he wasn't at WrestleCon. So dear AEW fans, can you still call him your savior? Can you still call him, that he's the best in the world? If he was the best in the world, he would have been showing up at Ring of Honor and showing out. He would have been showing those guys what it meant to carry the ROH, the Ring of Honor acronym, and everything that it stood for on his fucking back. But no, he didn't do that. So basically, he was a no-show at Ring of Honor. He could have just been in the crowd if he didn't really want to do anything. And then he didn't show up at WrestleCon to greet all you lovely fans. But yet then, he would definitely take some shots at you guys on, Twitter and interviews and stuff. After Ring of Honor, we covered Impact Wrestling, covered some Jay White matches, covered some Mike Bailey matches, and then we rounded it off with New Japan Pro Wrestling because I love New Japan Pro Wrestling. You guys know that. So, yeah. Again, if you saw this live, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are listening to this on the audio version, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, make sure to follow me at twitch.com. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My brain is going a million miles a second. Please make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/Marie_shadows. For any of the audio version of this, anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast. For YouTube, youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. And then follow me over at my coffee page, where it's a lot different from Patreon. Coffee gives you options because your hard-earned money deserves those options. So you can give me a one-time donation. I am trying to raise funds to get WWE 2K22 so I could give you more content, more entertainment. So if you want to help me out with that, head over to ko-fi.com/Marie_shadows. And then for the last thing, I do have a Reddit community. It is brand new. If you want to join the Reddit community, head over to reddit.com/r/Marie Shadows. Basically, type in my name, type in Square Circle Podcast, you'll find me. Again, stay tuned to my socials. You should be following me at Marie_Shadows on Twitter, and to know if I'm going to go live tomorrow talking about WrestleMania. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your WrestleMania weekend. I'll see you on the other side. You have been listening to an episode of the Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
The features you've been missing are waiting for you with Spotify Premium.